Because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
and you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Michael Costello. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christie's Night Late edition. Now, this won't be on the front pages because it's literally happening now. Let's go straight back to Minneapolis in America because we've got live pictures of growing protests after a woman was shot and killed by immigration and customs enforcement agents there. Now, Minneapolis has been in the centre of a lot of stories recently. You've had the Somali daycare fraud scheme, you've had an influx of FBI investigations, and with it an influx of immigration enforcement agents. They've been looking to deport people who shouldn't be in America. Now, what happened earlier on, and we're going to play you the clip of it now if we can, is that ICE agents were doing some kind of raid. In amongst this woman's car emerges, the car on the right of your screen. It's that black kind of 4x4 vehicle there. She then tries to get out of the way, she drives, and then what you won't be able to quite see from that angle, but there is another officer that is at this moment in front of her bonnet. And she is driving towards him. However, she's turning, right? And this is going to be this is part of the controversy, right? So she's turning, technically speaking, turning away from him. He cracks off one shot whilst he is still basically in front of her. But then there are two more shots, as far as I can tell, as he's at the side of her, which means he's no longer in danger of obviously being hit by her, all of that stuff. She's died. It's sparked protests. If we can take you back to those live protests, these is very near the scene where George Floyd was killed. We know what happened after that. So we're already seeing people coming out and taking to the streets. And one of the reasons why you're seeing people coming out and taking to the streets is not just because they are appalled by what's happening, that they've seen the footage. There's a huge immigrant population there. They also have got a pretty fruity character as the mayor of Minneapolis, who has immediately come out. We've got a clip of what he's had to say. He's spoken in very, very, very strong words. OK, we'll play the clip a little bit later on then. He's called Jacob Frey, and he has come out. Yeah, let's hear what he has to say.
To ICE, get the f*** Minneapolis. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. Somebody is dead. That's on you. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry.
Look, I just wonder whether or not that's the, you know, for a bloke who says that he wants to keep peace and we need to show love in response to hate and stuff. I mean, is that not designed to kind of whip up a bit of a riot?
Oh, yeah, speaking to his side of the argument, definitely. I mean, without even any thought that there's more to consider or that their tone might be better off if things cool down. But all the protests, nothing to do with this at all. If we're brutally honest, this is simply a catalyst to a protest that is about an issue that's just been baked in. The two sides of the argument are furious about what's happening with the ICE agents. And the problem is, it's not clear-cut, because the goal, the outcome might be good. If you can get rid of people who aren't meant to be in a country, that is a good thing, right? But the way in which you're doing it is stoking division. There must be a better way of doing it. But they've also got a situation where they're doing it so quickly, they've had to recruit ICE agents so vastly, they can't be incredibly well trained.
I mean, there's another clip here which appears to show them you know, she makes contact with the ICE agent. I don't know. I mean, people are going to be picking the bones out of these clips for the next few days. But Nina, yeah, I mean, is Steve right there? This is part of a bigger issue. Like, obviously, this is there's a woman who's dead here, and that is appalling. But actually, one of the main reasons I think why you're going to see a lot of people out on the streets over this, possibly even here in Britain, ridiculously, is because people are just so against, you know, the deportation of illegal migrants, basically.
Well, not just the deportation of illegal migrants, but the manner in which it's done, because these people are just being swooped upon randomly. There are people who are terrified to take their children to school in case, just being out in the street, they're going to be caught. So there's a lot of fear going on, and obviously a lot of hatred and a lot of resentment, and you can completely understand that. You know. Trump has sent these SWAT teams to places that are mostly Democrat states, aren't they?
Well, that's because there's a huge amount of illegal immigrants. San Francisco, or is the sort of the key one, and so therefore that there's already an inbuilt resentment. OK, we're going to read President Trump's statement here. I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming, who's the woman in the background of the clip, obviously a professional agitator. The woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defence. So...
Didn't run over him. Just, did not run over him.
I think he did get that fact wrong, and at the time he also thought she was still alive.
I think it's a pretty vital fact. Either you're run over or you're not run over. I mean,
unfortunately,
there's a huge difference between being, flattened by a car and not flattened by a car.
I think, unfortunately, politicians on all sides in America are not...
well, we're talking about Trump. I mean, truth is not... It's called
I actually don't think we're that far off seeing someone like Ed Davey from the Liberal Democrats pipe up and saying something seriously like, well, if you want Gestapo-type agents on the streets killing civilians, then that's what you're going to get if you vote for Nigel Farage. They'll find a way of politicising this.
I think that's my concern.
Well,
is
let's
that
wait till Ed Davey
this is going to become an issue about British politics, and it's going to dominate our discussion for the next few days.
All right. OK. All right. Well, yeah, Steve, just the final one from you. I mean, do you think this is probably going to be dominating our media for the next few days?
Yeah, definitely. We do seem to import these cultural issues, don't we? I think it's because the way which we have media. We watch so much American TV that we just immediately think we're them. OK, thank you very much. Over to Bev Turner now, who's got the Late Show Live.
Patrick, we're going to be keeping an eye on that situation in Minneapolis throughout the next couple of hours as well. It really is a tinderbox over there as well. And now what's going on with the relationship between the UK and the US? The White House have now said that Britain is weak. We're going to be talking to the journalist from DC who broke that story. Stay with me.
I'm Andrew Pearce. This is GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Britain steps up efforts to target Putin's shadow fleet.
After helping the US seize a Venezuelan tanker with links to Russia and Iran in the North Atlantic, the government steps up anti-Moscow rhetoric.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Russia's hit back, though, condemning the actions as illegal and accusing Western powers of maritime piracy.
So, as government sources try to distance themselves from tensions between the US and Venezuela, is this an escalation in the conflict?
Kemi Badenoch pledges to abolish business rates for thousands of pubs in an effort to save our pints.
The Met Police is under fire after a report found thousands of officers were not properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive.
MI5 is facing a backlash this morning after restricting early recruitment sign-ups to Black and Asian minority ethnic candidates, sparking a national row over fairness and merit. We'll debate that later.
Do you remember the nerves of opening the envelope on GCSE results day? Well, students now will be able to open their results via an app on their phone.
Baltic Britain as Storm Goretti moves in, bringing heavy rain, strong winds and snow. Yellow and amber warnings are in place. Have you been affected so far this morning?
Storm Goretti is on the way later today, starting to bring rain already into the far southwest. Later today, very strong winds here and then the risk of snow overnight for parts of England and Wales. First thing, it's across Scotland and Northern Ireland, where we've got the wintry weather and ice warnings in place. Join me later for a full forecast.
Now, do you like the idea of ageing boldly? Well, we're going to be joined by an author who's sold over 25 million copies worldwide. It's Dr. Miriam Stoppard. She's launching her bold new book, Sex, Drugs and Walking Sticks.
And now me.
In sport this morning, England's Ashes nightmares finally over as Australia win the final test by 5 wickets and win the series 4-1. Antoine Semenyo says goodbye to Bournemouth on his birthday with a brilliant farewell goal to beat a sorry Spurs. Man City falter again to leave Arsenal firmly in the Premier League driver's seat now as they play Liverpool tonight.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast.
Someone's had no sleep.
I've had no sleep.
But why?
Well, I went to see Paddington the musical, and it was incredible.
Was it?
Honestly, what are you looking at?
No, sorry, it's your wire. Ignore me, I'm just going to tweak you.
Sorry, I thought you were just ageing boldly there for a second.
No, we definitely need to talk about that at some point in the programme. No, it's amazing. It was so British, it was so wholesome. It was just lovely. It's a story about a bear, isn't it? Oh, sorry, I really recommend if you're in London and you've got kids, grandkids, well, even if you don't, because I went with my mum, but we had the best time.
There's one thing I'm concerned about that you did mention, is that.
Yes.
So that happens, right?
So Paddington, the bear, is a little person.
Right.
As in a dwarf. I'm not sure you can say dwarf anymore.
I think you can.
Oh, can you? Well, it's
I'm not entirely sure.
A little person, I'll stick with, and they come out at the end and they take off the bear suit and they come out at the end. It's very emotional.
See, that's amazing, because it's like if Disney, if you go to, because obviously everybody's, but if there's any of that, I know I'm walking on very thin ice here.
It just sort of broke the spell.
That's the thing, so I'm surprised that happens at all.
I think the way they do it. So there's a young boy who voices Paddington and obviously sings the parts of Paddington because it's a musical, and he comes out holding hands with the little person.
So where's he? Is he off stage?
He's off stage.
So Sing does this?
So he's doing all the voice and singing. Yeah, it's really clever the way it's done. Very good production. I
if
you enjoyed it, that's good.
I think so, but did kids go, as soon as the head comes off, go, huh?
Oh, no, the kids loved it.
So that was OK, though?
The kids absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. Very, very good. I recommend. But it does mean I haven't slept a wink.
Right. Why did you have like an after party at Paddington's house?
Yeah, it was lovely. Really, really nice.
You see, I'm a bit cynical, but actually, if you do see something really good like that, it does...
You have to... See, I don't know about you, but I've had that with theatre, and it's like, where you go, oh, OK, I can't... if there's a musical, and it's like, oh, they're singing to each other, but then after a while, then you find yourself, if you just relax and go with the flow, then you can find yourself completely taken in by the whole thing, which happens to me every time.
Yeah, I was totally taken in. I think it's the show to go and see.
Is it teary? Is there any...
No, see, you know, I was worried about that.
Yeah.
The only time I got slightly teary, and this is me being so pathetic, is a couple of rows ahead of me, there was a little girl who had a baby Paddington, little Paddington cuddly toy, and she was playing with it and trying to dance along to the music. That almost sent me, but it was lovely, very wholesome.
You didn't say, look, get out of the way, I can't see, put it down, I can't see.
It was very sweet. And we need a bit of that at the moment, don't we, with all the news going on.
Absolutely.
So it was very nice, very wholesome.
Good. Oh, you're a good, wholesome person. You
are.
That's nice.
Thank you. But I am exhausted.
It was worth it, though, wasn't it?
Worth every second.
Power through.
Right, well, maybe you need to calm yourself down with a drink. But doing it at a pub, as we know, is problematic at the moment. But outraged pub bosses are threatening strike action to protest at rising taxes announced in the budget in November.
Well, pub landlord Andy Lennox, who previously led moves to ban Labour MPs from some pubs, raised the prospect for the first time of industrial action live on GB News.
Reeves and Keir Starmer don't sit up and listen. This is only going to get bigger. We are pushing into industrial action. There's protest plans for the end of the month. We are going to go further and further and further. You know, we employ 3 million people. We're the third biggest employer in hospitality in the UK. And we generate 60 billion in taxation. They have to sit up and listen to us, and we're not going to go away until they do.
Well, it comes after pubs were dealt another blow yesterday, with ministers confirming plans to consult on stricter drink driving laws.
Well, let's speak now to former political advisor Oscar Reddrop, who joins us now. Morning to you, Oscar. Do you think pub landlords are going to be the new farmers?
Very, very potentially. I think the landlords are, of course, rightly, completely hacked off with the cards they've been dealt by this government. But they are not alone. And you're right to talk about farmers, but I'd make it more general and I'd zoom out a bit. It's small businesses generally. It is businesses that need, ultimately, as much as possible, a government to just get the hell out of the way and let them crack on and actually, like, be real kind of anchors in a community and just deliver for those customers that always tend to be, or most of the time, tend to be uber local, and to just get on and do that. And this, it speaks to a wider point. You know, this Labour government have been miserable. I think they're pretty anti-fun. They promise to tread lighter on all our lives. And I think these landlords are absolutely right to identify that under this government, things have got so much harder and it's miserable. And pubs are not... Yes, that they are so part of our identity as a nation, which is why I think people feel it really keenly when a government is making life harder for them. But it's more than that. You know, like, pubs are a community for people. They're good times. And I just wish Rachel Reeves, Keir Starmer would just leave off them a bit and have a bit of fun.
I mean, why the... fun aside, though, it's about squeezing cash out of people. Yeah. It's just that the more you squeeze it out of small businesses, I mean, they're the parts of our economy with very little resilience, actually, to take any squeezing.
Absolutely spot on. And you guys, it's something GB News, I think, do really, really well. You give a voice to landlords and small business owners regularly. So you will know, and viewers will know, just how small and tight those margins are. And actually, a lot of the landlords, and, you know, just zooming out again, and small businesses generally, like, a lot of them do it. Yes, of course they want to, you know, they need to hit a bottom line, but they do it because they love it. And that's something that I think is doubly sad about how, you know, employers' national insurance rise that came out the budget. You know, business rates again and again and again. You know, that's another sadness, I think, that the Labour government don't seem to understand, is that we're not just hitting businesses that can obviously add to local economies, but we're hitting small businesses that are doing it often for the love of it. It's really sad. It's really sad. And people who watch this now, yes, people like going to the pub for a drink, but it was interesting. I just over Christmas, which were, you know, things like loneliness, it can be tough, and those pubs and small businesses and restaurants that were open over Christmas, you see that what an amazing impact that has on people who might not have had a lot of family during that time. So this anti-fun government, I just wish would tread a bit more lightly, like they promised they would.
Yeah, I know, famous last words. Oscar, thank you very much.
Now, the United Kingdom has confirmed it supported a US operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, deploying an RAF aircraft and some naval assets.
Well, the vessel was believed to be transporting sanctioned Iranian oil bound for Russia.
Well, meanwhile, the US also seized a second tanker in the Caribbean, labelling it as a stateless, sanctioned dark fleet motor tanker.
Well, Defence Secretary John Healey said the operation demonstrated the UK's commitment to upholding maritime security.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Well, let's talk to managing editor at America's Quarterly, Jose Enrique Arioja, who's in New York. Very good to see you this morning. Well, what are we to take of this? It seems like, I mean, that shadow fleets breaking sanctions on oil has been going on for a long time. There seems a real determination to get ahead of this now.
Yes, definitely. Good morning, and thank you for having me. This is a dramatic escalation in the campaign that we have seen against Venezuela in particular. And this is tells about the determination that the U.S. is having in order to control, as they say, for the foreseeable future, all the oil sales coming from Venezuela and heading to either Russia and, more importantly, to China, which historically has been helping the Venezuelan regime to survive U.S. sanctions in the recent years, and more importantly, you know, since December, when the U.S. is starting the campaign to blockade these sanctioned vessels and tankers carrying Venezuelan oil.
We can assume, can't we, that the Kremlin had calculated that given the personal relationship that we have seen between President Trump and President Putin, that the US wouldn't intervene in getting involved with this tanker. But Trump has now made Putin look weak on the world stage.
Yeah, he's trying in some way just to push the relationship that he has with Putin. He recently, even expressed some dismissal comments about the Russian president. And as we know it in the recent past, particularly with the case of Venezuela, former dictator Maduro was speaking about a perfect harmony between Maduro and Putin. And definitely this situation sort of interject in what used to be a thriving relationship. I'm talking Venezuela and Russia, but now remains to be seen where things are going to go from here, given the events that we have since the capture of Maduro on Saturday.
It actually sheds some real light on the Venezuela issue for the United States, but indeed for the world, for the Western world, doesn't it? Because, we knew there was a problem with what Venezuela was doing. We sort of didn't realise, at least here in the UK, how significant an issue it was having and the impact on things like funding terrorism and breaking sanctions.
Yeah, this is going to represent, and it's already doing so, sort of like a reset in the relationships, not only with Venezuela, but several countries in the region, and therefore, to some extent, I would say so, with the rest of the world. The Trump doctrine that we're seeing being manifested in the recent actions is taking, or is telling the world, hey, we have to take these new ambitions by the United States very seriously. And in particular, in the case of Venezuela, what the U.S. is trying to do is sort of like put a frame, sort of like a cartel, reduce the relationship that they have in the past with, for example, Iran, with the president of Hezbollah in the country, and how the Iranian government was trying to use the Venezuelan territory as a pivot point for influencing in the rest of the region. Same thing with Russia. Just to give you an example, for example, last year, Russia opened the first ever manufacturing plant of Kalashnikov rifles in Venezuela. It's a small plant, but the symbol behind that tells you about the degree and the intentions between these governments. And finally, needless to say, the president of China as well in Venezuela, with sizable investments, not only in oil, but in mining, particularly in iron ore. Another salient point of the influence of China in the rest of the region. So all these geopolitics that we were seeing, the alignment of Venezuela with these three particular countries, and in the region with Cuba, are in some way right now in a sort of like a turning point, if I may say, given the developments that we have seen in the recent months and 4 days ago.
Okay, Jose, thank you very much for your time this morning.
OK, at 16 minutes past 6, time for the weather with Alex Deakin.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still still cold, so again, things likely to freeze up, the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now, it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now 18 minutes past 6. It's time now for our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi there. My name is the Reverend Pat Allerton, and I'm a vicar in the Church of England. I'm sure, like me, that over the years you've received your fair share of duff Christmas presents. Perhaps a toy you really didn't want as a child, or a hideous tie so kindly meant, as the poet laureate John Betjeman put it. But when the three wise men arrive from the east, they bring with them gifts which, if it was me, might receive mixed reviews. Gold, top notch, good effort. Frankincense, okay. But myrrh? Wow, thanks for that one. Myrrh usually being associated with death and embalming dead bodies. But the truth is that each of these gifts were more than just a joint birthday and Christmas present. They prophetically pointed towards who this baby was and what he'd come to do. Gold, a gift fit for a king. Frankincense, that speaks of our worship and prayers going up before God. And myrrh, the gift that pointed towards the sacrificial death that Jesus had come to die on the cross for the sins of the world. And there's an amazing line in Matthew's Gospel that says, "On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him." The wisdom of these men is seen in their worship of the Christ child. And that's a path that's open to each and every one of us. For as the beloved carol says, "Where meek souls will receive him still, the dear Christ enters in." God bless you.
Actually, it's a nice calming start.
We need
to
that
the morning.
at the moment, don't we?
Yes, we do.
With the news the way that it is.
Oh dear. Right, still to come, there's actually more shocking news. It's a new report that shows thousands of Metropolitan Police officers were not properly vetted during a national recruitment drive. We'll tell you more next.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
6:24 now. Thousands of officers in Britain's biggest police force were apparently not properly vetted during a major recruitment drive. That's according to a new report.
Well, it says that senior Met officers ignored national guidelines to fast-track more than 4,500 recruits, allowing unsuitable staff to remain. And, of course, that led to undermining public trust.
Let's talk to former Met Police Detective Peter Blexley. With all the problems the Met has had lately, Peter, I can't get my head around this.
And many of those problems that they've had have stemmed from this lack of correct vetting of people, because many of them have gone on to commit appalling crimes. And we've seen those stories. There has been story after story of police officer convicted of very serious criminality, from rape to corruption charges to all manner of misdemeanours and serious crimes. And this is because they lowered the bar in their haste to largely recruit Boris Johnson's 20,000. This affected some 5,000 in the Met. And we, the public, have paid the price because people utterly unsuited to policing have got their way in, have got warrant cards, uniforms, and then gone on to behave appallingly.
I don't know if you've seen the front page of the Telegraph this morning, Peter, but it's truly shocking. The Metropolitan Police hired an officer, including a man accused of raping a child. His application was initially rejected, then that was overturned, later convicted of 13 counts of rape, including 6 against a child. When you hear stories like this, are you shocked? Are you surprised by that decision from the Met?
All of those things, but I'm also saddened. I'm saddened for the really good police officers, those who join, that want to serve the public, that want to help people in their moment of need, and then they have to end up working alongside monsters like that. But there's one word this morning that's missing from Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary's understandable outrage, from the words of senior police officers, and, of course, the inspectorate, who are going to do a thorough inquiry. There's one important word missing, and that is accountability. Who is going to be held accountable for making such dreadful decisions to allow these people in? Who's responsible for lowering the bar? Who made that policy? That senior police officer needs to be named, shamed, and sent packing from policing.
But even when you look at these individual cases, there must be someone looking at this and looking at, you know, an approximate background to these people and just going, well, it'll be fine, let's just tick the box, it'll be all right. Someone must be making individual decisions.
It's beyond comprehension that people can be allowed into a role such as policing without the most strident checks being carried out. Back in the day, you had a home visit from a police officer. and they would poke their nose around and have a look at what your living circumstances were like, as well, of course, as checking things like if you were a youngster, school reports and the like. All of that just got thrown away in an effort to try and get as many people through the front door of the training school as they possibly could. And some of these people deliberately joined the police because they were members of organised crime gangs. So they joined so that they could access police computer systems, data systems, find out what the police might be doing in investigations against them. It's utterly appalling. And it's such a shame, not only for the public, but for the good cops who had to work alongside such vermin.
And all of this, Peter, just leads to a lack of trust from the public.
Of course, because the public should rightfully expect that a police officer that turns up when you've made that 999 call, when you're having one of the worst days of your life, that the police officer that turns up is going to be upright, honest, truthful, and is going to help you, and is not a criminal in any way, shape or form.
Peter, as always, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed.
Well, Assistant Commissioner for the Met, Rachel Williams, said, in publishing this report today, we are being open and transparent about past vetting and recruitment practices that led, in some cases, to unsuitable people joining the Met. We found that some historical practices did not meet the strengthened hiring and vetting standards that we have today. We identified these issues ourselves and have fixed them quickly, while making sure that any risk to the public has been properly and effectively managed.
You need to be able to trust a police officer. And let's be clear, the vast majority you can. But this sort of decision, Peter says, people need to be named and shamed on this. I think that's probably right.
And this is actually recent history we're talking about. This review is 2013 to 2023, and it involves 20,000 applicants.
Yeah.
So it's recent.
It's not good enough.
Let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Now, at 6:30, very nearly, if you're heading to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Use caution on the A76 near New Cumnock, where flooding from a burst water main is affecting the carriageway. In Welshpool, an incident is causing disruption on the A458 in both directions around Church Street and the Cross, with local diversions in place. In Derbyshire, the A38 northbound at the junction with the A61 near Alfreton is shut after a vehicle struck a bridge, with conditions expected to improve just after 7 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways warn Storm Goretti may impact your journey today. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, 6:30 on the nose, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway. And it is truly great. An incredible £85,000 to be won. Hayley Sparks has got all the details for you.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate.
Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank.
You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village.
Or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you. Now, still to come, it's all over for England as Australia win the 5th Ashes Test and lift the trophy. All the details next in the sport with Paul.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
It's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back at 6:35. It's sports time. Paul's here with us. Morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
I've got the Ashes. It's over. It's done. It's finished. We're done. That's it.
Oh.
4-1. It's all finished with. It has been.
Not great.
It was a series that showed so much promise beforehand, and there was so much excitement because we were talking about it for a while, weren't we? And I was thinking this could be it.
Bazball.
Exactly, Bazball.
Is that dead in the water?
I think it probably is. Yeah, See, Bazball itself, it's all about being entertaining and being swashbuckling and enjoying your cricket, and it's just gone. There's been bad batting, there's been bad fielding, the bowling's been just wobbly. So anyway, they've beaten by 5 wickets, which basically means 4-1 to Australia. It's all over. So that's the end of it.
Right.
So that's it. There we are. There's the Australians. Let them enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the golden, because the little urn that they have the Ashes in, that's just the replica of that, because as I said before, that's kept at Lord's, so we actually keep that here.
Good.
Yeah. Only because we won't win it, so we might as well just keep hold of it.
Yeah, keep hold of it.
That's it. Premier League.
Yeah,
right.
Premier League, gone.
loads of games last night. I'm going to try and go through these very quickly. Game of the night. Now, that was Newcastle 4, Leeds 3. And Leeds were ahead 3 times in the game, which is a real sickener, isn't it? If you're ahead 3 times. But if Newcastle, they scored twice in injury time. There was once in the 91st minute, once in the 97th minute. So they ended up winning 4-3. Sad news, though, about Kevin Keegan. Now, I should mention this with Newcastle because Kevin Keegan, who played at Newcastle and managed at Newcastle. See, many people, and it's interesting because there's so many reports, it's going, oh, ex-Newcastle, ex-England manager. But some of us of a certain age will see Kevin Keegan as a superstar footballer, which he was in the 70s. He won the Ballon d'Or, and he won that twice, and just a legendary player. I'm amazed he's never been knighted. It's only looking at this.
Yeah, why is
he's one of those that is like fallen by the wayside. But I should say, I mean, I'm talking about him now, but I should say exactly what's happened. Is that he's been diagnosed with cancer, which is awful news, and it worries me the way that this has been announced. And I don't know whether I'm overly worrying. Of course, it's cancer, for crying out loud, so of course you're going to worry. It says undergoing treatment for cancer. He was admitted to hospital with abdominal symptoms, and tests have shown that he's got cancer. The family have requested privacy and will make no further comment. So we've got our fingers crossed for Kevin Keegan, and we wish him well, because a true footballing legend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Spurs yesterday, that was a disaster as well for Tottenham. They played at Bournemouth, who haven't won in 11 games, Ellie. 11 games. Dr. Tottenham will see
Spurs
now.
can't be doing very well.
No, it really isn't going very well under Thomas Frank.
What's happening? Yeah, so what's happening with Thomas Frank now? Does this mean he might be on his marching orders?
I don't know. It's possible. I think if there's... not that I've seen this, but I imagine that if there are betting odds on who the next Premier League manager is going to be that will get fired, of course, we've seen some recently, Thomas Frank, without doubt, is going to be up there. It seems that there were players that were having arguments with supporters last night. I mean, the good side of this for Antoine Semenyo, who plays for Bournemouth, he scored the winner. He looks like he's about to go to Manchester City. So he scored the winner. It was in the 93rd minute, so fantastic for them. But for Spurs, not so good. This is interesting. Thomas Frank was photographed before the game. Now, have a look at this picture with him holding this cup and see if you can see anything strange about that. Now, you see him holding the cup?
Is that an Arsenal badge?
Yeah.
What?
I know. Is that bizarre? This was going around social media yesterday evening, and I'm thinking...
Is it a real image?
It's AI. It's got to be AI.
Got to be AI.
It's a real image from last night. Now, obviously, he is not going to purposely walk out with an Arsenal cup when you have rivals and they're doing so well and you're doing so badly. I just wonder whether someone there has played some joke and given it to him, and he's holding that. He was asked about it afterwards and said, of course not. Well, of course he was going to... But it just kind of adds insult to injury at the moment. It really does. Martin Chivers as well. A quick word on Martin. Now, Martin Chivers, Spurs legend. Spurs were wearing black armbands yesterday because Martin Chivers died. It's difficult for me because he's a very close friend of mine. I was the one that had to phone the club and tell them about what had happened. So, Martin, there's Martin. 376 games for Spurs. One of the greatest goal scorers of all time. And it was just a surprise to everybody. Just a surprise to everybody.
Only 80, it's not a big age, is it?
Exactly, and I was with him on Sunday, and he was so well, and he had a minor operation, and everything was fine, and then I got a message from another one of the ex-players that played alongside him. The phone was ringing, I was on the phone to someone, I thought, it's about something else, and then I got a text and then phoned him, and it's just, it's one of the... We talk about take the wind out of your sails. I mean, it's, of course, anybody that you know is a friend, but for this man, not only was he a close friend of mine, but he was a hero as well, and he was one of the Spurs greats, so we're going to do something and we'll celebrate his life at Tottenham on Saturday, but absolutely heartbroken about Martin. So we send our love to all the family, to Julia and the boys, and just awful news. So anyway... Horrible one to leave you on, but there you go.
It is.
But we will speak to Steve Perriman, who was Spurs record appearance holder, and he knew Martin better than anybody else. We'll have a chat with him a bit later.
Lots of tributes coming in.
We shall make sure he gets the send-off from us he deserves.
Absolutely. He used to watch the show too.
Thank you.
Oh, bless him. Right, still to come for you. A Cambridge college is targeting pupils from elite schools to improve student quality. Find out more with Charlotte Griffiths and AJ Pritchard in the papers next.
Morning, you two. Chat to you in just a second. But first, we're in search of some holiday sun, and who can blame you because it's freezing outside. Here's the forecast across Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The cold winds and the snow not just confined to the UK. In and around the Mediterranean, pretty blustery, and some heavy snow likely over the Alps. First really big dumps for some here of the winter. Some showery rain for the Algarve. It's generally fine in the Canaries. Showery rain moving into Italy and across Croatia and further south too for Greece. We'll continue to see the weather pretty mixed in Italy with further showers and some gusty cold winds to come. The weather remains pretty fine in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
More than 10 people have had to be rescued after a huge sinkhole opened in a canal in Shropshire, leaving several narrowboats stranded.
Yes, 3 boats have been affected by the incident, with at least 2 swallowed by the sinkhole, which is approximately 50 by 50 metres in size.
Extraordinary. Well, joining us with the story is Paul Smith-Story, who's on a canal boat 3 boats away from this sinkhole. Paul, this sort of thing doesn't really happen very often, does it?
It doesn't. There was a huge breach on the Bridgewater Canal last year, but this is the first time we've actually seen boats at the bottom of the breach. It was quite scary to witness, to be honest.
So how close are you? What can you see from where you are?
Yeah, well, we're about 90 metres away from where the sinkhole started. We got woke up at 4:20 this morning. There was crashing on the boat because the boat was listing. We got off, and a friend of ours told us that there was this sinkhole that had appeared and that there was a boat about to drop into it. And that was, when we got there, the boat was already in the bottom of this sinkhole. The rush of water was incredible. It just sounded like a huge waterfall. Luckily, those boaters got out, and we actually know the chap whose first boat went in. We're just so thankful that he got out in time with his dog.
Gosh, Paul, just explain what we're seeing on our screens right now. So the narrow boat there has come out of the water that we see on the left, and has it rolled over and down into the sinkhole? What's going on?
That's the actual line where the red clay is the line of the canal. Just where those 3 trees are to the left is a field that's flooded, and I think that's where the water's escaped from the canal, and it's just flooded the field to the left of that image. It was really scary.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of professional dancer AJ Pritchard and editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Morning, you two. Good to see you both.
Good morning.
Charlotte, let's talk about this Coalition of the Willing peacekeeping force, shall we? Because there's been lots of questions about it. Yeah. And the UK would actually send fewer troops than expected to Ukraine if this were to happen.
Yeah, if this were to happen, I think we have promised around 64,000. And the Times is saying we'd struggle to make even... the whole of Europe would struggle to make even 25,000, and we would struggle to make 7,000. I mean, there's a lot of numbers in here. But the the general story is about the fact that we just don't have enough numbers against Putin's 800,000. And it makes us look really weak to make these promises because Putin doesn't believe them. Nobody really believes them. You know, we just do not have the numbers. We've only got 71,000 trained personnel altogether. So I think making the promise is just foolish, really. I think it just highlights how weak our armies are in Europe, especially in the UK.
AJ?
I think it's worrying when you kind of hear, like, all of the countries speak about how they actually need to recruit more people for the army. And when you hear it in the background, you think, OK, but when you're hearing people actually say it on the news and start talking about it openly, that's a worrying time for a lot of our people. And that's what I kind of... People are taking this very relaxed and quite calm. Like we were just speaking about the police, you want to actually get 25,000 extra officers. Well, if we need to do that in the army, how do we make sure that people are vetted, trained and actually ready physically and mentally to go to war?
And retain them as well, which has been a real challenge for our armed forces.
Yeah, it has. Dear me. And it is a concern. AJ, in The Guardian, colleges in Cambridge want to improve the quality of their students, so they're going to elite schools. They want the posh knobs.
Yes,
Is that already happening?
Well, you'd think this would be happening in any sort of business, but Cambridge College obviously is targeting recruiting students from elite schools, over 50 private schools from St Paul's Girls to Eton. They want to approve, fundamentally, the policy that has been approved will go in and create a better quality of applicants. This has been opposed internally, and it says that fundamentally it's a slap in the face to the state schools. And I think, for me, as somebody from the outside, if I was wanting to go to the best dance schools, whatever the school is for, whatever it was, I want the best people around me, because then you're going to get the best. It's a good think tank. Like, in the UK, we're really awful at working with each other. We kind of see it as like a kind of like, why are you coming in? How are you going to help? What are you going to get from this? But actually, this is better for everybody's college. It's going to lift the boats.
But if it just goes on merit, if everything's a meritocracy, then you shouldn't need to necessarily target
anyone. You should have state schools where the best rise to the top, and actually the same with private schools. By the way, I just wanted to say that St Paul's Girls is listed as one of these schools they're targeting, and every year St Paul's Girls beat St Paul's Boys in the league tables, showing surely that girls are more clever than boys.
Did you go to St Paul's Girls?
I didn't. I always wished I could, but I was actually told you wouldn't get in, don't even try. But what they're saying here is that reverse discrimination has become a problem. And I think, as you're saying, just let it kind of happen naturally. So, you know, if you then... What happened was, for years, they looked away from these top private schools, and then, you know, the opposite problem happened. Then you weren't getting... What they're saying is here, that you weren't actually getting a high quality of applicants. I think just look across the board. Of course, people in state schools don't have as many privileged opportunities as those in private schools, but there must be a way to balance it without this yo-yoing going from one extreme to the other. And what we're seeing here is we're going back to how it was before, because they'd gone too far the other way.
I see. Charlotte, let's stay with you, shall we, and talk about the Women Inequalities Committee. They're going to stop using X as a platform. Why?
Well, because X has an AI associated with it called Grok, and Grok has been digitally removing clothing from images of women and children.
Well, and men.
And men. But I suppose...
I only say men because I did it myself.
Oh, did you?
I did it myself. When I first heard this story, I thought, is this still going? So I got a picture of myself from New Year and asked it to remove the clothes.
Did it give you a six-pack? I know you actually do have one in real life.
No, actually, it made me look worse.
I think
it did do it. Well, it removed the top. It didn't remove the bottoms.
Yeah.
But also, I looked at it and thought, but it's not me.
But I think this is fantastic that people are speaking out about these AIs and kind of really what Elon has done with Grok. It is a very powerful tool, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to social media, there are other options. You don't need to be on a platform that you don't want to be on. Like in the UK, there's a platform in America and Australia called We Are 8. Like, that removes any social hate. You would physically it would be impossible to put an image of any nudity or pornographic images on that. It would get removed straight away. Your details would be sent to the police. There are social media platforms globally that have the capability to protect its people. Like, you could stick Keir Starmer on there, on We Are 8, and he wouldn't get a negative comment because it would get removed straight away. And that's a tall order, but it's true.
But something needs to be done about these AI tools, especially when we're talking about something that can create inappropriate photos of children.
Well, it makes
and then
me
flooding the site with them.
It's thousands and thousands of images. It makes me worried about its ability to moderate harmful content, because now Twitter generates harmful content, and that's like a real departure. And also Elon's showing no interest in doing anything about it. So now public censure is what people are reduced to. And actually it works quite well, I think. If people simply stop using it, then the platform will become defunct, and it will certainly become less...
But people tried that before, and they all moved on to Threads or Blue Sky, but it didn't actually have any real impact, did it?
I suppose if everyone starts doing it, or the really important
I think it comes down to advertisers.
Doing it.
Like, if you're a company and you're Coca-Cola and you want to talk about good, positive mental health, how can you advertise on a platform like that? You can't say on one side and do something else. You remove your funding, and that's the way these platforms are going to change. And you can go to other platforms, like it did say We Are 8, like, have a profile on there, you're safe, you're protected, you're giving money to charity, it's positive. This is just negativity on negativity, and they double down on the negativity.
But then you've got the free speech issue. As you said, on that other platform, if you posted something about Keir Starmer and you replied with something not very nice, it would be deleted.
Yeah.
Is that not a free speech? Because if you said something nice about him, it would stay up.
It would know if you're saying this is effing awesome or this is effing bad. Like, it reads that sort of...
Yeah.
Depends which side you're coming from.
But it's a free speech issue then, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose.
But is it
a
free speech pornographic images of people?
No, but that's in a way a different issue.
I think if it's public... public committees and public bodies, if they then they need to get their message out, right? So if they had their own platform that just got their message out, then the reputational damage, I think, would be quite bad for Twitter, because then you've just got kind of wacky users and random people, and the really important people, government bodies and things, would use a different platform to get their message across. And I think that devalues Twitter quite a bit, because originally that's what it was so useful for. We know Donald Trump uses his own one when he wants to get his message out.
Truth Social, yeah. It is alarming, though, isn't it? The rate at which AI is developing, as you say, that can now generate its own
You don't know
content.
what to believe.
You don't know what to believe, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think
terrifying.
We've all been caught out by that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Seeing videos and pictures, and you have to go, oh, is that AI?
It's usually the family member that sends you this. I'm like, that's not real.
Yeah.
That's fake.
Well, like that Arsenal Cup you were talking about, I just question myself so much more now online.
You have to, don't you?
Right, you two, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later.
Let's have a look at the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again things likely to freeze up, to the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A76 near New Cumnock, flooding from a burst water main is affecting the carriageway, so take extra care. In Welshpool, an incident is causing disruption on the A458 in both directions around Church Street and the Cross, with local diversions in place. In Derbyshire, the A38 northbound at the junction with the A61 near Alfreton is shut after a vehicle struck a bridge, with conditions expected to improve after 8 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways say, Storm Goretti may impact services and your journey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good morning. Britain steps up efforts to target Putin's shadow fleet.
It's after they helped the US seize a Venezuelan tanker with links to Russia and Iran in the North Atlantic. And the government has since stepped up its anti-Moscow rhetoric.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
But Russia's hit back, condemning the actions as illegal and accusing Western powers of maritime piracy.
So, as government sources try to distance themselves from tensions between the US and Venezuela, is this an escalation in the conflict?
Kemi Badenoch pledges to abolish business rates for thousands of pubs in an effort to save our pints.
The Met Police is under fire after a report found that thousands of officers were not properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive.
MI5 facing a backlash this morning after restricting early recruitment sign-ups to Black and Asian minority ethnic candidates, sparking a national row over fairness and merit.
Now, do you remember the nerves of opening the envelope on GCSE results day? Well, students now will be able to open their results via an app on their phone.
Storm Goretti is moved in, bringing heavy rain, strong winds and snow. Yellow and amber warnings are in place.
Storm Goretti is on the way later today, starting to bring rain already into the far southwest. Later today, very strong winds here, and then the risk of snow overnight for parts of England and Wales. First thing, it's across Scotland and Northern Ireland, where we've got the wintry weather and ice warnings in place. Join me later for a full forecast.
Now, do you like the idea of ageing boldly? Well, we're going to be joined by an author who's sold over 25 million copies worldwide. She's Dr. Miriam Stoppard, and she's launching her bold new book, Sex, Drugs and Walking Sticks.
In sport this morning. What? We don't have to talk about the Ashes anymore, because the Ashes nightmare is finally over. Australia win the final test by 5 wickets and they win the series 4-1. Antoine Semenyo has said goodbye to Bournemouth on his birthday with a brilliant farewell goal to beat a sorry Spurs side. And Manchester City again, well, they falter because Arsenal are now in the Premier League driving seat as they play Liverpool this evening.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Every time we read that link about not about sex, drugs and walking sticks.
Right, good.
But about GCSEs and getting your results on an app, I can just hear people. I can hear you going, we didn't do GCSEs.
O-levels.
O-levels.
O-levels and CSEs.
Yeah.
O-levels. And were you nervous? How does that happen? Do you have to go into school and open an envelope?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think this is a really good idea. From kids that have only done this recently, it's ridiculous that in this day and age, you have to wake up, go into the school, pick up the envelope. It surely should be like 7 a.m, then everybody can do it.
You know what? I disagree.
Do you?
I don't often disagree with you.
Why, though?
Because I think kids are isolated enough these days, and there is something quite positive and useful about going in, all being together, getting the envelopes together, making it a shared experience rather than everyone just sat on the phone going, oh, yeah.
See, but that for me is the opposite, because from someone whose results weren't very good, I kind of would imagine you go in and you just want to, because there are people that just don't want to, and then there's the other ones that are going, yes, 3 A's. It's like, But I just think it's one of those, I think it's something where you can be with your family and fight, because it's such a big thing.
Choose your own support.
Where are you on this?
They're not going to do it with their family. They're going to do it in their bedroom, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think for GCSEs, it's probably a positive thing, because it doesn't really matter, does it? You don't need that support network around you. It just depends on whatever you've got. Whereas your A-levels, it's about clearing, it's about university options, it's about further education. I think you probably need to be in school around your teachers and your advisors for your A-level results, but GCSEs, I think this is the modern way. Probably quite a good idea.
I just think everything it's the only thing where it's done by mail now. And surely that's what email is all about.
It is so nerve-wracking. I remember that drive vividly. I was in tears the whole way.
What, on the way there?
Yeah.
On the way back, I know.
On the way back.
On the way back,
I was
and
fine
still
on the way back. But on the way there, I was nervous wreck. Bag of nerves.
Yeah. See, I'm surprised. I mean, conflict.
Is there any turning you on this, do you think? And do you think I'll be able to convince you in any way?
I'm not sure.
No.
And you know, I love tech, and I think tech's great.
You are.
But on this one, I just think young people need to be with young people.
Right.
And having that experience.
Amongst their peers.
Getting up, going in. I just think it adds to the fear. There's so much pressure.
But that fear
and I just think that's another one.
I think that fear is good.
But isn't that all there for the exams and all the study? Isn't that enough fear? Then this is going to everybody. I mean, everybody is, like Ellie said, the weeks before, terrified, and then to go in. Surely you want it to be as easy and simple as it possibly could be.
Don't know. Well, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/yoursay.
Now let's have a look at our top story this morning. The UK has confirmed that it supported a US operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, deploying an RAF aircraft and naval assets.
Well, the vessel was believed to be transporting sanctioned Iranian oil bound for Russia.
Well, meanwhile, the US also seized a second oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea, labelling it as a stateless sanctioned dark fleet motor tanker.
Well, the Defence Secretary, John Healey, said the operation demonstrated the UK's commitment to upholding maritime security.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Well, we can speak now to GB News national reporter Charlie Peters. Morning to you, Charlie. We've been talking about this all week, haven't we? Why did the UK decide to help the US capture this Russian tanker? Because this tanker has had nefarious history, hasn't it?
That's right, sanctioned since 2024, linked to Hezbollah and Iran. It was going from Iran, launched in August last year, towards Venezuela when it met that US blockade in the southern Caribbean. It was attempted, a boarding was attempted by the US Coast Guard, and then it fled towards the North Atlantic. And what you're seeing on your screens now is the moment, that dramatic moment where it was taken under US seizure yesterday about 11:30 a.m. Now, why did Britain help, Ellie? Well, because the United States needed Britain to help. They needed to use our air bases to launch this operation. And it is part of a wider strategy being adopted by not just NATO countries, of course, but several others concerned about the Russian shadow fleet of oil tankers. Now, this particular vessel is now on its way back towards the United States. The US military left it after a rapid boarding operation, which was conducted by US Navy SEALs with support from the US Coast Guard and indeed the US Navy, US Air Force, Special Operations Forces, and the Royal Air Force, and the Royal Fleet Auxiliary RFA Tide Force in the sea supporting this operation. But I don't think they are done here. The US has seen several other vessels attempt to flee its naval blockade in the southern Caribbean. We saw the first other seizure of a tanker in the south since they launched that dramatic raid in Caracas on Saturday. And I think, Stephen and Ellie, this is part of a wider strategy that the US is going to be deploying now to sustain its efforts in Venezuela. They are very much sending a message to Venezuelan officials or Russian or Chinese or Iranian officials tempted to test them on their Venezuela move. They're telling them, don't bother, we will act again if we have to. And these vessels, the Marinara you're seeing on your screen right now, formerly known as Bella 1 before the Russians tried to take ownership of it, is a very large floating symbol of resistance to US power because it was escaping that blockade and the US essentially just could not have that. It does have that wider strategic element to it, but also on the tactical level, this will hamper Iran, this will hamper Russia. If it cannot control this shadow fleet on the high seas, then it's going to have a lot of problems for them. We did hear from the Russian Ministry of Transport yesterday, the Kremlin putting out a statement saying that this was a violation of international law, saying that this was a Russian flagged ship. But it's important to stress that the Bella 1 became the Marinara. It became a Russian ship during its voyage. Under the UN laws of the sea, if a ship changes its flag, changes the nation it's registered under, it is technically stateless. And that is why I think it's crucial. We heard from the Defence Minister of the United Kingdom, John Healey, yesterday, saying that this was done in compliance, full compliance with international law. This was a stateless ship. There is not going to be much resistance legally to this US mission. But as we're watching this now, I think a lot more is set to occur, Stephen, Ellie. I think it's 2 down, perhaps 14 more to go with these oil tankers that are attempting to flee US control.
OK, Charlie, thank you very much.
Now, outraged pub bosses are threatening strike action in protest at rising taxes announced in the budget in November.
Well, pub landlord Andy Lennox, who previously led moves to ban Labour MPs from some pubs, raised the prospect live on GB News.
Reeves and Keir Starmer don't sit up and listen. This is only going to get bigger. We are pushing into industrial action. There's protest plans for the end of the month. We are going to go further and further and further. You know, we employ 3 million people. We're the 3rd biggest employer in hospitality in the UK. And we generate 60 billion in taxation. They have to sit up and listen to us, and we're not going to go away until they do.
All right, let's talk to former political advisor Oscar Reddrop, who's here in the studio. it does seem, and it's been reflected in the papers actually this morning, this idea that Labour hates the POB. I don't know if is that a bit simplistic?
In some ways, a little bit simplistic, perhaps. But Labour don't understand the needs and wants at this moment in time of small businesses generally. I would say they are very overbearing. You know, whether it's this drive limit, the driving limit policy that they're announcing, whether it's the NICS rises on employers and small businesses, you know, they're making things harder. And also, I think it's interesting with the relationship between politics and pubs, in the sense that I think a landlord's view on a prime minister is a pretty good indicator as to their cut through, their popularity and the sentiment that's out there for them. And I think most landlords up and down this land I think universally would despise Keir Starmer and just also the sensibilities of the lead of Keir Starmer as a leader, but also quite materially now policies that the Labour government are enacting upon them.
As a former political advisor, Oscar, who is advising this Labour government? Because you think about the farmers, winter fuel, the grooming gangs national inquiry, and now this. It just seems that they're just not in touch with what the public here in Britain really think. It's like they want to do the opposite.
Yeah, well, I think they're very good at almost siloing off individual groups, whether that be the farmers or, in this case, the landlords, and picking policy that almost uniquely would hack off that small group. Well, not small, you know, substantial, you know, important group, and not just kind of campaigny groups. Like, these are bedrocks of our communities. Like, they pick. I would say these advisors at Number 10, they seem to really target and pick on sources of pride, like groups of people that are great sources of pride to people in this country, like farmers and pub landlords. It's complete madness. But it speaks to a leadership and a sensibility that stem from Number 10 that is just so painfully out of touch and actually just a bit directionless. Like, my old boss, Boris, he would walk into some pubs and the landlord would probably say, "Get the hell out of my pub, and I don't want to see you again." And he'd walk into others and they would be obsessed with the guy and they would love him. And that's because, for better or for worse, there was a personality and a sense of who he was and something that you could hang off a bit. Whereas Keir Starmer, I think there's a feeling that they just... He's burdened by it, this job at the moment, and he's confused. I think he's confused, which is why we see policy like this.
Oscar, thank you very much indeed. Well, let's go to the front line, should we? Steve Perez is owner of the Red Lion in Derbyshire. He joins us now. Steve, morning to you. Is Kemi Badenoch right when she says pubs are being treated by Labour like cash cows to milk?
Yeah, and I think all business, especially small business, is being treated in that way. I don't know what Labour's got against the pub, but almost every week I get the news and it's even rises in national insurance. There's a tax nobody's ever heard of, EPR, extended producer responsibility for all your packaging waste. There's inheritance tax. You have this huge issue now with business rates, which is going to put a lot of businesses under. And then just yesterday, boom, big surprise. Oh, what we're going to do, we're going to reduce the drink drive limit. Now, I'm not by any means condoning drink driving. I know it's a very, very emotive issue. But the problem is that at the moment, it kind of works, and there's no evidence to show that reducing the drink drive limit will make any difference. It certainly didn't make any difference in Scotland. So any actions they make should be evidence-based. And what it's going to mean, we're going to sell a few less pints, like we're going to employ less people, we're going to do less business, and more pubs are going to go out of business. Now, if the government really want to do this, well, we need compensating in some way, like through the rates or VAT. Our VAT is at 20%. In the rest of Europe, it's generally 10% or an average of 13%. So we need something back in return.
Steve, would you consider strike action over this? We heard from another pub landlord on GB News yesterday, Andy Lennox, and he led the campaign to ban some Labour MPs from pubs up and down the country. He spoke about industrial action and he cited the farmers saying it worked for them, at least the threat of industrial action worked for them. Is that something you consider?
Well, first of all, I banned Labour MPs from my pubs. So that is part of industrial action. We're not planning to go on strike. We can't go on strike. I can't afford to go on strike. We still got to pay the staff and all the rest of it. We're looking at as the farmers, because I'm actually a part-time farmer, and I was at the farmers rally, so what we're looking at is there's a possibility of a protest march or something like that, or sending some of the drays into London, and there was all kinds of talk. But we just can't afford to go on strike.
No. Well, I'm not surprised. Steve, look, it's good to talk to you. We appreciate your opinion. Thanks very much indeed. And I think a lot of you watching and listening will agree with that. I mean, they're not only national institutions, are they? But they're crucial small businesses. And we need
part of the community.
Well, yeah, they hold communities together, they hold towns and villages together, but also they're generating income, they're employing people. It's all the things we're meant to be doing to get the economy going again.
Yeah,
and yet they're being attacked.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And they feel under attack, and they feel as though the Labour government hates them and has something against pubs.
But it's the same. I think he's right when he says it goes for small businesses, family businesses, with the inheritance tax. The farmers, things have improved slightly, but they're not totally free and clear.
Yeah, we've had a view on this from Kay, who says, why are Labour targeting small businesses like pubs? It seems that everything is geared to big business at the cost of small businesses. And, of course, it's small and medium businesses that make up Great Britain, isn't it?
Well, they are the grassroots of our economy.
They are.
Right, it is nearly 90 minutes past 7. Let's have a look at the weather with Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again things likely to freeze up, to the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, 21 minutes past 7, thousands of officers in Britain's biggest police force were not properly vetted during a major recruitment drive. That's according to a damning new report.
Well, it says senior Met police officers ignored national guidelines to fast-track more than 4,500 recruits, allowing unsuitable staff to remain and undermining public trust.
Well, let's speak now to retired Scotland Yard Detective Inspector Hamish Brown, who joins us now. Good morning to you, Hamish. What do you make of this story? It's truly shocking.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, it wasn't long ago I had the lead letter in the Times voicing off about this, and it absolutely beggars belief. Now, there is a 2-year report ongoing. It's Lady, and I hope I pronounce her name correctly, Angelini. She made a number of recommendations. Recommendation number 7 was quite clear. There should be 1, a personal home visit, and 2, a personal in-depth interview with the proposed candidate. Now, I go back a long time, to the early 70s. I came home one day, I was waiting for my application to come through, and my mother stood, a uniformed police officer arrived unannounced and said, I want to see his bedroom. Well, it was a bit of a shock for her. I don't suppose they're allowed to do that, but if there was something iffy in the room, if there was something of some concern, I'd have been eliminated straight away. I mean, the fact that nothing's been done really beggars belief, and it's an utter disgrace. The public must have full confidence that the officer going into their house or investigating their crime is as clean as a whistle. They don't have previous convictions. I just don't understand it.
What seems pretty clear, Hamish, is that this failure with more than 4,500 recruits has had some pretty clear impacts.
Yes, I mean, it is awful, and I don't know if they're going to backtrack and do their job properly in the first place. Also, there has to be an ongoing review, because how do you know a serving officer, for example, hadn't got into a bit of trouble, had a minor criminal conviction for something or other, and did not disclose it? So it should be an ongoing process, and people should be called to account. Lady Angelini's report is quite clear. There are those recommendations. I say recommendation 7. Why aren't you doing those home visits? Why aren't you doing the personal in-depth interviews? Because what's happened is it's come back to bite the police. 1, we've seen some disgraceful behaviour, and 2, it's let the public down. And my goodness, the police need the public support. A lot of things have gone against them. A lot of good work out there as well, may I say. But they really don't need this, and they've got to get their act in order. It's not just about statistics and getting as many people through as possible. It is getting through the right people.
OK. Hamish, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Well, Assistant Commissioner for the Met, Rachel Williams, said in publishing this report today, we are being open and transparent about past vetting and recruitment practices that led, in some cases, to unsuitable people joining the Met. We found that some historical practices did not meet the strengthened hiring and vetting standards that we have today. We identified these issues ourselves and have fixed them quickly while making sure that any risk to the public has been properly and effectively managed.
Right, still to come, MI5 is under scrutiny for advertising for intelligence officer roles aimed specifically at ethnic minority candidates only. We'll talk about that next.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get us on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
All right, it's 7:29 very nearly, and Paul Coyte is here with the Sport Morning.
I've had it up to it with the Ashes, quite frankly.
Have you? Well,
I have.
we all.
That's it.
I think it's best we move on.
Do you think so?
Yeah, Australia won.
I mean, it hasn't been your favourite thing, has it, Ellie, really, to talk about?
It hasn't really.
It's been disappointing. It's been so disappointing.
I know, and the thing is, it was before we had so much hope. We were thinking that, but as they always say in sport, it's the hope that kills you.
Yeah.
So England showed a little bit of fight today, but not quite enough. So anyway, I could just say they blew it, really. It's a nice way of putting it. Beaten today by 5 wickets, 4-1. Australia have the Ashes, and then they can come back and think, right, what do we do now for the next time they come over here? And hopefully it will be better. And that's
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
We can only hope.
Yep.
Football.
Right, I'm going to run through a few of these because it was quite an eventful evening.
It was a busy night, wasn't it?
It was. Newcastle beat Leeds 4-3. It's what you know what it was? It was a 7-goal thriller. It was a 7-goal thriller.
It really was.
It really was. Leeds were ahead 3 times during the game, but then Newcastle came back. So late goals. There's nothing more exciting than your own team scoring late goals, and that happened for Newcastle. And there's nothing worse than when the opposing team scores late goals. So not so good for Leeds, but a very good result for Newcastle. So 4-3, very exciting game. Spurs got beaten 3-2 by Bournemouth last night. Bournemouth hadn't won for 11 games.
What's going on with Spurs?
It's just, honestly, it's really difficult to be able to pinpoint what's going on, but people are not happy at the moment. Thomas Frank has come in, and it's whether it's Thomas Frank, whether it's the players, everybody's like trying to point the finger at different people, and it was a little fractious at the end of the game as well, where there was arguments between players and supporters, which is what you really don't want to see. This is the bizarre thing. Have you seen? Did I show you the cup?
Yeah, this is weird.
Have a look at this. And this is Thomas Frank was given. Now, to add insult to injury, and I really feel sorry for Thomas Frank with this, because someone has obviously given him a cup of tea, and I would love to know who it was that provided that. But if you look at the cup, see, firstly we thought it was AI, but apparently not. There's an Arsenal badge on the cup.
Is it a disposable cup?
It is.
Like a paper cup?
Well, I
Where's
would
it come
dispose of
from?
it extremely quickly. But
where it's come from.
Who
Someone's
knows?
handed it to him.
It's at Bournemouth. What, do they keep a set of Arsenal cups there ready for him? It's insane.
It's been planted.
It has. It looks like it's been planted. So he was asked about that, and that just added insult to injury, quite frankly. So anyway, so that was that last night. We have, I think it's cup. That will be Cupgate, by the way.
Yeah.
That will be Cupgate from now on.
Will be.
Brentford, who Thomas Frank left, are actually doing a lot better.
Since he left?
Since he left.
Never a good sign,
And then moved to Spurs. They're up to 5th. They beat Sunderland 3-0. And Man City, who are the only hope for anybody probably to stop Arsenal winning the title, drew 1-1 last night with Brighton. That was at the Etihad. That's their 3rd draw on the trot, which is great for Arsenal, which only means they're 5 points clear at the moment. And if they beat Liverpool tonight, then that's going to move to 8 points.
Yeah.
And then we'll start hearing the words unassailable, but whether it's true or not. But I don't actually think the quality is that great in the Premier League. So for Arsenal to be ready and good, they're away. So it's all looking very good for them.
We're out of time, Paul.
OK.
But I know that in the next hour you've got a special guest, haven't you?
Yes, we'll speak to Steve Perriman because Martin Chivers, one of the greatest Spurs strikers, one of the greatest England strikers ever, passed away, sadly. Complete surprise to all of us yesterday. So Steve Perriman, legendary Spurs skipper, we'll have him on and he can pay tribute to Martin because he knew him better than anybody.
Lovely. Paul, thank you.
Now, just coming up to 33 minutes past 7, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway. Hayley Sparks has got all the details.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000. And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all. With an extra £85,000 in your bank, you'll be able to indulge in luxury, do those things you've only ever dreamed about. Even tick a few experiences off the bucket list. One lucky viewer is guaranteed to win £85,000 in tax-free cash. But you've got to be in it to win it.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck.
Oh, yes, good luck, yes. Absolutely. Not jealous or anything. Is it time, coming up, to scrap diversity targets? We'll debate that next.
Thank you for making us Britain's #1 news channel. Together, we have built something truly extraordinary.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A90 southbound between Brecon and Finnavon, a broken down vehicle is partially blocking the road, so allow extra time, reduce speed and proceed with caution while passing the scene. In Powys, the A458 through Welshpool has an incident on Church Street at the Cross, with local diversions signed and possible delays in place. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast Services and Chiltern Railways say Storm Goretti may impact your journey, so check before you travel, allow extra time, and expect disruption. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
It's 7:37 and MI5 is under fire after advertising intelligence officer roles aimed specifically at ethnic minority candidates. Now, that's reignited a row over diversity hiring.
Well, critics say that national security should be about merit alone, not meeting representation targets, while supporters argue that MI5 must better reflect the society that it protects.
So this morning we're asking, is it actually time to scrap diversity quotas?
Well, joining us now is Labour activist Aisha Ali Khan. Very good morning to you, Aisha. What do you make of this?
Morning. So, of course, we're going to have these debates whenever there's an announcement, the way the MI5 announced, posted. So I think it's a good thing. We do need DEI policies in place. When I look at the last 20 plus years, we have seen massive changes. We have seen lots of people from my background, from a black background, from other ethnic minorities entering workplaces. And we are obviously very lucky that we're in a position to recognise where there was a lack of BME people in the workplace, and policies have rectified that, but we still have a long way to go. And an institution like MI5 definitely needs to reflect and introduce more underrepresented groups into the workplace.
Yes, but the argument against this sort of hiring practice is that you end up hiring people to have that society reflection, but what you're doing in the process is not hiring the best people for the job.
Stephen, the optics always in a situation like this is that BME people are not qualified enough, they're not competent enough, and they can't do the job. And that's the kind of narrative, the statement you've just made, that feeds into that narrative.
Well, no, hold on,
we have
hold on,
incredibly
Aisha.
talented people from BME background. It's just not given a chance, Stephen.
Well, no, but absolutely you have incredibly talented people. But the argument is, if you hire on a meritocracy, if they're good enough, they'll get hired anyway.
So, see, I was on one of your programmes earlier on, and we had this very similar debate, and I was talking about the fact that a lot of BME people wouldn't even know that there's a position like this, that MI5 are advertising. And
Why
this
would they not know?
boils down... Because it's just not something that would be apparent. They wouldn't know where to check. They wouldn't know how to check. And in the past, a lot of times people have been employed. It's through word of mouth. It's through people, the circles they move in. And if you don't move in those circles, you are just not going to know. And of course, now we've got the internet, Ellie. It's amazing. We can go online. But if people are not aware of something, how are they going to apply? And this isn't just about MI5. We're talking about across the board. About 20 years ago, I just want to point something out. about 20 years ago, a Labour government at the time really had a massive push on getting working class people into the medical profession, because a lot of the doctors at the time were from middle class and upper class backgrounds, and a lot of their sort of there wasn't any representation from working class backgrounds, and there was a huge drive. And I know a number of people who really benefited, children of migrants, children of white working class, children from parents who'd grown up on the council estate, and that really changed, and that is positive social engineering. And I want to see more of this, because a lot of the children I teach in schools, they will never have these opportunities. They will never be able to access professions that are kind of closed off, that are still closed off in this day and age.
Aisha, I just want to stop you because we're now joined by podcast host Sunil Sharma. Sunil, good to see you this morning. It's positive social engineering, according to Aisha. Would you agree?
No, I think the UK taxpayer should be paying for having incompetent people in these roles. The idea that the MI5 or the police are employing people not on merit is crazy. The whole point of these profiles of these jobs is to protect and to save lives in the United Kingdom. And I guarantee if you ask the vast majority of people when they're in harm or they're in danger, they do not care about the skin color, the gender or anything. They just want to be out of harm. And so we need to, it's really, really simple. Just employ and pick the most talented people for these positions that keep the country safe. I don't think if you ask the majority of this country, they care about social engineering when it comes to the police force and this sort of stuff. It's a serious job. It requires serious people. And the idea that somebody could get this job or is employed with less qualifications than another one just on the basis of their skin color is absolutely absurd. And I think that's the case whether you're white, black or brown. And then there's the other element to it, which is I think a lot of these DEI schemes, we have to be, I think one of the reasons we've allowed them to come in play is we're not harsh enough about it. A lot of this is directly racist towards white people. And I think we need to be clear about that. And I think one of the reasons that they have been able to creep up in all these different institutions, because we don't say this enough, it is racist towards white people, because it is saying that if you are white, you are less likely to get a job. You would not accept that if that was a different skin color. And for other people, non-white people, it's degrading. The idea that you need a leg up or you need some sort of help from the system to get a job is incredibly degrading. And I think we need to be a bit more harsh about this, the situation we're in.
OK, both of you, thank you very much for your time. I'm afraid that we're out of time with you both this morning, but really good to get both of your views. Thank you very much.
Just a quick one from Oz, who's been in touch, who says, if someone can't find the MI5 website or recruitment process, then surely we don't want them in the security services.
Yes. Good point. Good point.
I'm trying to find a way to balance it out, but it's hard to disagree with it, to be fair.
Yes. Keep those views coming in. gbnews.com/yoursay. Is it time to stop and scrap diversity targets? Let us know.
Right, still to come, find out why the NHS are advising us to waddle like penguins. Charlotte and AJ have got details on that in the papers next.
Yeah, that's the next few minutes. But first, here's your forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The cold winds and the snow not just confined to the UK. In and around the Mediterranean, pretty blustery and some heavy snow likely over the Alps. First really big dumps for some here of the winter. Some showery rain for the Algarve. It's generally fine in the Canaries. Showery rain moving into Italy and across Croatia and further south too for Greece. We'll continue to see the weather pretty mixed in Italy with further showers and some gusty cold winds to come. The weather remains pretty fine in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The University of Bristol has been threatened with legal action by a leading academic who led a recent government review into sex and gender data collection.
Well, Professor Alice Sullivan claims her freedom of speech was restricted after a talk she gave was disrupted by a trans rights protest.
Protesters actually scaled the walls of the building. We were in a first-floor lecture theatre, and they climbed the walls in order to bang on the windows and sort of howl through the windows. It felt incredibly surreal in there. It was like some kind of zombie apocalypse. And they were setting off fire alarms to very loudly disrupt my talk. Eventually, we had to all move to another lecture theatre. And I learned afterwards that people trying to attend the talk had been severely disrupted by protesters who were not asked to stand behind barriers or anything like that. They were just allowed to intimidate and obstruct people who had come to hear me speak.
It sounds like a fairly severe dereliction of duty on behalf of the university. I mean, obviously everyone has a right to protest anything, and you'd think at a university anyone would have a right to give a talk, and yet there is this sort of heckler's veto that some try to play to try and keep out ideas with which they disagree. I mean, it seems to just go against the fundamental ethos of what higher education should be in this country.
That's absolutely right. I mean, I fully support people's right to peaceful protest, but this was not a peaceful protest. It was really quite violent.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. We're going through the papers now in the company of professional dancer AJ Pritchard and editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Morning, you two. Charlotte, should we begin in Minneapolis, where a US immigration agent, an ICE agent, has fatally shot a woman?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that will go on all week, I think, and already there are vigils, peaceful vigils in Minneapolis. Well, I was so shocked, actually, that the mayor, Jacob Fry, in his press conference, dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, did he?
And he said, you know, get the F out of our city to ICE, you know, and you could really feel his visceral anger, and I thought that was very powerful, actually.
Trump did it the other day, didn't he?
Yet they don't know what they're effing... I thought that was also very powerful when Trump did it as well. It just really shows anger and frustration. I suppose we're in a new era now where you drop the F-bomb in press conferences live on TV. Anyway, but, I mean, it is a truly shocking and highly debatable issue, which is this poor woman was shot 3 times. They're saying... Renee Nicole Good, who's the Homeland Security spokesperson, said that it was she was a violent rioter. Now, AJ and I were, I'm afraid, watching the video in the green room. Was she a violent rioter? Was she trying to run over the ICE agent? It's very much being debated.
Seeing the
online.
videos from all the different angles, I think, seeing how many videos are out there is kind of quite horrific for a lot of people to see, so kind of taking that scene. But
and that's the new era we're in as well.
Yeah, you get hit with, it gets desensitised in a weird way, like you're watching a movie, but this is real life. Somebody has just unfortunately passed away. Being at the front of the car, obviously the ICE agent, but to shoot through the windscreen and to shoot in the head. And I think, upsettingly, from the video side, it's kind of like, which side do you stand on? And it's a very hard point from both sides.
I was reading the Twitter comments. I hate reading Twitter comments to the video, but it was literally every other one was, she was innocent, she was guilty, she was innocent.
Yeah.
It's very polarising, this video. And if you're on the side of ICE, you think she's a violent rioter, apparently. I have to say, I didn't get the impression she was a violent rioter.
Well, you've got violent rioter on one side, and the other side, it's reckless use of power. It's kind of like, which side are you coming from?
It seems to me she was driving the officer crazy with her behaviour, because she was protesting against the ICE agents.
The argument, I heard it last night on GB News, you know, if you are told, and you see it on these videos, If you are told in America to get out of your car by a police officer and they've got a gun on them, you get out the car. You don't sit there and not.
Yeah, but she, like the officer, was incensed. She'd whipped herself into a rage, rightly, possibly because she was very upset about what was going on in her community. So she was also kind of in the grips of anger or madness or something, and I think he was too. And the problem is, as you say, when guns are involved and people are very passionate about what they believe in, somebody can.
I think all these scenarios, even if, let's say, she was driving off to remove herself from the situation, but it's everything in them scenarios. You've just got to do it so slowly, so calmly. Like in the UK, it's not something that we would be telling your kids, or it's very hard for us to fathom what's happening in these scenarios. But if I was in America, I would be so nervous. I'd be like, I don't know what to do. Do I just stay still? Like it's very scary.
She may well have frozen out of fear. She may be in fight. I mean, we all know about fight or flight. Maybe he was in flight and she was in fight. I mean, it's tragic. The whole thing is just awful.
AJ, let's have a look at NHS advice, shall we, on how we should stay safe in the cold.
Yes, the NHS has a funny trick, as they said, for less steady on their feet people, and it's fundamentally to waddle like a penguin. Did you want to waddle?
Yes, would you like to see the...
am I waddling?
You're waddling.
I did watch the video. I've got to pull my legs... The video was a lot more hands out, and they were literally just waddling.
It's a bit slower than that.
Oh, OK, a bit more like this.
That's how you're meant to do it.
So it's like you're a professional dancer, AJ.
I know the skills that I've gone through to #1 in the world to waddling on GB News. Where's it gone?
Brilliant.
But no, on a serious note, obviously -12. It's black ice everywhere. I went for a run yesterday in the morning. It was still 2 degrees at 8 a.m. But it was black ice everywhere. I ended up running on the grass because you just don't realise sometimes it is. Take care of yourself because one fall can be very harmful.
It does sound like stupid advice, but then you've got British Gas also saying once you've finished cooking anything in the oven, leave the oven door open because it lets heat out.
My husband does that.
It's not bad advice.
It drives me crazy, though, because surely an open oven cannot heat your kitchen that much. It's just so annoying.
Every little helps.
Depends what temperature you've been cooking on, you know what I mean? Well, do you want the scent of the food? There's so many other options in there.
Yeah.
All right, you two. We're out of time. See you in an hour.
Let's get a check on the weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again, things likely to freeze up, the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now, it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across our social media platforms. We're truly honoured to have your trust. one follower at a time.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A9 northbound slip road to Hunting Tower, there is a partial blockage after a broken down vehicle. In Wales, the A470 southbound from Nantgarv to Corriton is slow with congestion. On the M56 westbound between Junction 11 and Junction 14, delays are running at around 1.5 hours, with traffic easing after 8:30 this morning. Also, the M1 northbound entry slip at Junction 23 is closed following an overturned vehicle, and it may start clearing after 8:30 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways warn Storm Goretti may affect journeys. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000. And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country. Good morning. Britain steps up efforts to target Putin's shadow fleet.
After helping the US seize a Venezuelan tanker with links to Russia and Iran in the North Atlantic, the government steps up its anti-Moscow rhetoric.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Hit back, condemning the actions as illegal and accusing Western powers of maritime piracy.
So, as government sources try to distance themselves from tensions between the US and Venezuela, is this an escalation in the conflict?
Kemi Badenoch pledges to abolish business rates for thousands of pubs in an effort to save our pint.
Yes, Kemi Badenoch is putting pressure on Rachel Reeves to U-turn on her calamitous plan for British pubs. Will the Chancellor take the bait? Find out more with me very soon.
The Met Police is under fire after a report found that thousands of officers were not properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive.
Now, you're about to see some distressing images. It's breaking overnight in Minneapolis. US immigration officers shot a 37-year-old woman. They claim she tried to run over them.
Do you remember the nerves of opening the envelope on GCSE results day or O-levels? O-level results day, yes. Well, students now are able to open their results via an app on their phone.
Storm Goretti is moving in, bringing heavy rain, strong wind and snow. Yellow and amber warnings are in place.
Storm Goretti is on the way later today, starting to bring rain already into the far southwest. Later today, very strong winds here and then the risk of snow overnight for parts of England and Wales. First thing, it's across Scotland and Northern Ireland, where we've got the wintry weather and ice warnings in place. Join me later for a full forecast.
Now, do you like the idea of ageing boldly? We're going to be joined by an author who sold over 25 million copies of her book worldwide. It's Dr. Miriam Stoppard. She launches her bold new book, Sex, Drugs and Walking Sticks.
Don't.
OK.
In sport this morning, England's Ashes nightmare is finally over. There's some good news, although it hasn't ended out very well. Australia win the final test by 5 wickets and win the series 4-1. Antoine Semenyo says goodbye to Bournemouth on his birthday with a brilliant farewell goal to beat a sorry Spurs. And Manchester City falter again to leave Arsenal firmly in the Premier League driver's seat, and they play Liverpool tonight.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
We're going to start with the pub. It's a bit early to think about heading down the pub. But
It's never too early.
No. It's a bit early, 8 in the morning. Mind you, I have done it before when I worked overnight. I used to do night shifts back in 1995, and we used to head to the pub after the show. The show finished at 5:30 in the morning, and then we'd all trot off down to a pub in Smithfield Meat Market.
That was the place, yeah.
That was the place.
Yeah.
Great way to end a shift, I think.
See, if you get up at 3, then technically it's lunchtime for us, isn't it now?
Well, then I started work at 10 at night.
Right, OK.
On that one. But I was smashed by 7 in the morning.
Well, yeah.
You would be.
Well...
So it was never a good look.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
But anyway, outraged pub bosses are threatening strike action in protest at rising taxes in the last budget.
Yes, pub landlord Andy Lennox, who previously led moves to ban Labour MPs from some pubs, raised the prospect of industrial action live here on GB News.
Reeves and Keir Starmer don't sit up and listen. This is only going to get bigger. We are pushing into industrial action. There's protest plans for the end of the month. We are going to go further and further and further. You know, we employ 3 million people. We're the third biggest employer in hospitality in the UK. And we generate 60 billion in taxation. They have to sit up and listen to us, and we're not going to go away until they do.
Well, pubs were dealt another blow yesterday, with ministers confirming plans to consult on stricter drink-drive laws.
Well, joining us now is Shadow Chancellor Sir Mel Stride. Good to see you this morning, Mel. Thank you for joining us on Breakfast. How are the Tories hoping to save Britain's pubs?
Well, the most important thing that we can do now is to get business rates scrapped for most pubs. But the only way you can do that is to have a proper, economically coherent plan for doing so, which means squeezing spending in other areas, controlling spending, particularly welfare. And at our recent conference, we announced £23 billion worth of savings in the welfare budget, so getting people off benefits and into work. And if you do those kind of things, you have the money to be able to take the tax burden and the costs off our vital businesses, including pubs.
In terms of cutting back on spending, does that include the 2-child benefit cap? I mean, I know we're talking to Pat McFadden from the government in the next hour. I know he's furious about what he says the Tories and indeed Reform are doing.
Well, he's very wrong to be furious about that because let's be clear for your viewers on this, Stephen. The two-child benefit cap basically means that if you're on benefits, universal credit, and you want to have more than 2 children in the family, in other words, have a large family, that you won't get additional benefits for those additional family members. And I think that's right, and I think that's fair, because people that are out there working hard, paying their taxes, if they want to have large families, they have to take often tough financial decisions as to whether they can afford to do that. And I don't think it's right that the state should simply step in and start paying benefits to people, irrespective of the size of the family that they choose to have. And of course, it comes with huge costs. This policy that Labour are about to abolish will cost taxpayers getting on to £4 billion. Now, getting back to your question about pubs, if you want to take the pressure off pubs, you want to take business rates down, or as we would be doing, abolish them. That costs money. Well, you can't have that money to do that if you're spending it all on the benefits bill. They're the wrong priorities for this government to have.
Can I ask you, I mean, it does relate to pubs as well, the road safety strategy yesterday. We were speaking to the government about this and talking about the lowering, potentially, of the drink-drive limit, meaning that in some cases you can't even have one drink now before being over the limit, meaning that you couldn't drink at all in a rural pub. Now, I know that it's a very emotive issue when we're talking about drink driving, but would you be concerned about a lowering of the drink drive limit when it comes to our rural and our country pubs and what it would mean for them?
So, Ellie, this is a consultation. We'll want as a party to look very closely at this and in the round, because it's not just about the drink drive limit, it's also about other elements that impinge on road safety and licensing, and how quickly you can get behind the wheel of a car having passed in the run-up to getting a testing, a practical tests and so on and so forth. We want to look closely at that. But the reason why we're even having this debate is because of the real stress that there is on our pubs, and the reason why there's that huge financial stress is because of the decisions that the government's taken. So it's not just about sort of beer duty, for example. It's not just about business rates going up astronomically. It's about national insurance having gone up on the people that are employed within pubs as well. All of these things are squeezing pubs and their margins to the point where many of them are ceasing to be viable. So what we really need to address is that fundamental issue of how do we create an economy in which we don't weigh down businesses with all these costs and all this extra taxation, and allow them to go out there and grow and expand and employ people and grow our economy. And I'm afraid going out there and spending money on benefits, as Pat McFadden wants to do, is not the way to go about that.
Are you saying then that a Conservative government, if we got one next time around, so you'd scrap these rates, these business rates for pubs, but what would you do about all these other problems that you outlined? I mean, the national insurance contributions, the new employment right law, the inheritance tax issue when it comes to small businesses and family businesses, which is a big problem. Would all that have to go?
Well, the fundamental to all of this is going to be a radical rewiring of our economy, and that means many different things, and we're doing a lot of work in working out exactly what that looks like. But it certainly involves tax, getting tax down and simplified. It means getting the size of government down so that we've got more money to drive lower taxes, getting regulation out of the way of businesses, looking at the way skills works in this country. Too many people going to universities doing degrees that aren't actually economically that valuable, but putting more of that money into apprenticeships, which is really important. Getting the welfare bill down, supply side changes, so getting planning sorted so that we can actually build roads and rail and reservoirs and houses and things like that on time, on budget, without all these ridiculous delays that we have on all these projects. Getting energy costs down as well, and creating a popular capitalism in which entrepreneurship and going out and taking a risk and growing businesses and doing those kind of things is championed and celebrated and encouraged by government policy and government at the centre. Now, that's a whole different approach to the economy, but in the round, that is how you have to do it. And if you can then grow the economy far more quickly, you can afford to do all these things that we want to do.
Oh, wait, sorry, I was going to say, within all of that, and whereas a lot of people watching and listening might say, well, that sounds great, they may also say, well, what in that differentiates you from Reform, particularly? I mean, I know their plans aren't particularly detailed at the moment, but it's the same sort of policy area that they're pursuing.
So I think I would say two things, at least, on that, Stephen. One is the fact that on the two-child limit and benefits, for example, Reform don't want to abolish, do want to abolish the two-child limit for many of those that would be receiving those particular benefits, so in fact increasing the bill. The second thing is, as I've outlined, you need a very clear, well-thought-through plan to show how you can afford the kind of changes, cutting taxes, for example, that you want to bring in. And Reform are just not doing that. Their last manifesto had £140 billion worth of spending pledges, tax cut pledges and so on, with no real plan as to how they were going to afford any of that. It was all largely unfunded, which is why they've now resiled from some of that. And we see what Reform does when they actually get into government. You know, they are now running some councils, Kent, for example, where they said they'd go in and find all this waste and clear the waste out and get council taxes down. They've actually now announced that council tax will be going up. So I think the difference is that we are taking our time to do the deep thinking to come up with the solutions to the various aspects of the economy that need to be radically transformed if we're going to really get growth rates up and then make people better off as a consequence.
Sir Mel Stride, we're out of time with you, I'm afraid, this morning, but thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Let's talk to our political correspondent, Olivia Utley. Morning.
Morning.
What did you make of all that?
Well, it's easy for the Conservatives, of course, to say that they would like to cut the ballooning benefits bill and cut down the civil service and use that money to help out pubs. Obviously, that's going to be a vote winner. Whether they could actually do it is another question. Of course, the obvious rebuttal is they had 14 years in power. There was a lot of talk over those 14 years about cutting down the size of the civil service. And there were sort of inroads made in the right direction, but it never quite seemed to happen. As for the benefits bill, Jeremy Hunt, the former health secretary, acknowledges that part of the blame for the soaring benefits bill can be placed at his own feet. He made the decision as health secretary to treat mental illnesses the same as physical illnesses, and that led to this explosion in mental illnesses like ADHD, autism, etc., which are being used to claim the highest level of benefits, PIP benefits, and is causing this huge benefits bill. So I think it's easy for the Conservatives to point to a solution. Whether they could achieve it is another matter. I thought it was interesting hearing Mel Stride talking about what Reform is doing. I think it's helpful for the Conservatives that Reform now actually have control of quite a few councils, so they can't really be just a protest party anymore. They've got to show what they're doing, and I think we're going to see more and more of what we saw in that interview there. The Conservatives pointing at Reform's actual record, because they are building up a record in local government and picking holes in it and saying what they're doing wrong. And I think that line as well that Mel Stride used, that the Conservatives are the ones who are thinking deeply, looking hard at all of this. That's what Kemi Badenoch said, of course. That was her reason for not really bringing forward any strategies in the first 6 months of her time in office. And I think we're going to hear a lot more of that from the Conservatives. We're thinking hard and deeply about this. Reform are just rushing things through.
OK, Olivia, thank you very much.
And well done for ploughing on through, because you're struggling today.
Bless her.
You're a trooper.
You've had the super flu, haven't you?
I've had some kind of super flu.
You've been very unwell. Yeah, she said about 10 days. Didn't you have 10 days of it?
This is my 12th day, I think.
12th day.
Oh, heck.
Yeah, she is a
Well,
trooper.
no, well, it is. You're battling on.
She is.
Thank you for
You're
it.
a tough cookie, aren't you?
And our listeners are battling on too.
Oh, no, you're great, as always. Thank you, Olivia.
Now, our main news this morning is that the UK has confirmed it supported a US operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, deploying an RAF aircraft and some naval assets.
Well, the vessel was believed to be transporting sanctioned Iranian oil bound for Russia.
Well, meanwhile, the United States seized a second tanker in the Caribbean, labelling it a stateless, sanctioned dark fleet motor tanker.
Well, the Defence Secretary John Healey said the operation demonstrated the UK's commitment to upholding maritime security.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Let's talk to international affairs expert Leon Cook, who joins us now. Leon, good to see you this morning. What are we to make of this? This has been an ongoing issue, and yet now we're seeing some real action being taken. Is this a direct result of Maduro being removed from Venezuela, that more action can be taken?
Good morning. I think it's the extension of the next evolution of what happens next. I think that, interestingly, if you marry this up against the conversations about Greenland and what the European Union and the United Kingdom want to see the United States do or not do there, the assistance or the request for assistance came from the United States. Of course, we provided it through RFA Time Force and the Royal RAF surveillance aircraft. But at the end of the day, we have there's been a change in the UK or HMG government policy about the interdiction of shadow fleet Russian vessels, Iranian oil as well, I might add. So, and even in the last 8 hours, the government has announced or given an announcement to the press that it intends to do more of this. So I think you're going to see more of this over the coming days and weeks.
Did you find it interesting that President Trump, speaking after this operation yesterday, said that the US would always support NATO, even if NATO won't be there for us? But as you've just said there, Leon, they requested this assistance from the UK and the UK gave that support.
Well, I think there's been a lot of commentary over the last couple of days. We're in a very perilous time. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the White House social media over the last day or two, but it's quite extraordinary. J.D. Vance, the vice president, gave an interview yesterday to Fox where he basically said, in our neighborhood, the US calls the shots. This is a continuation of the so-called Don Roe doctrine, self-styled by Trump. Even the State Department is now putting out posts basically saying, and I quote, "American grit, resilience and strength is truly back." So they are obviously exercising and showcasing themselves through pure brute force. And there might be an element which is part of a broader strategy in terms of American foreign policy. It might be a bleed into Ukraine, basically saying to Putin, you know, watch out, one way or another, we are actually ramping up our efforts. But where this leaves NATO and the alliance, I mean, Mark Rutte has not actually said anything in about 2 weeks. That's from the Secretary General. That's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah. Can I also ask, because I mean, it is a show of brute force, but the issue that the rest of the world, and particularly countries like China and Russia, are going to have a problem with is that it appears to be working. I mean, you only have to look at the person sort of currently in charge of Venezuela, the Vice President Rodriguez, who seems to be, you get the impression that she's sort of being willingly compliant to what Trump wants.
Well, she absolutely is. It would give the suggestion that maybe she was complicit in part of a deal, probably even information sharing as to the identification of where Maduro was and his intentions. But if you also couple that against the fact that Rodriguez was also sanctioned by the US government, and yet she is still there. If you look at the Interior Minister is driving around Caracas basically saying nothing to see here. You have those that would exercise force in the capital doing exactly what they did prior to 4 days ago. So what has actually changed other than the US has basically seized someone and is trying to present the idea that they can do that absolutely everywhere? But all is not well in the United States. Senator Tom Tillis yesterday gave a speech in the Senate where he basically said, you don't speak for all branches of government, we are co and equal. Now, that may not necessarily be true, but there is what the White House is doing, what the administration is doing, and there is a visceral backlash against that from other elements of the three co-executive elements of power.
OK, Leon Cook, really good to get your analysis this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I look forward to talking to Leon again.
Yeah, very good. Wish we had more time.
It's one of those things. Sometimes you just need someone to break it down into sort of digestible chunks, don't you?
And also look at the broader picture, what it all means. Anyway, let us know what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Interesting times. All right, see if the weather's going to be interesting for you. Here's Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again, things likely to freeze up, to the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now, it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, at 22 minutes past 8, it's just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway, and it's a goodie, isn't it? £85,000 up for grabs, tax-free, just like having £7,000 a month in your account every month for a whole year.
Even more, in fact.
Even more, in fact. Quick maths.
Here are the details.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village, or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, best of luck. And best of luck if you're getting older. But how do you age not just well, but boldly? Well, there's a new book called Sex, Drugs and Walking Sticks. It might just be for you. We'll talk to the author in a moment.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The University of Bristol has been threatened with legal action by a leading academic who led a recent government review into sex and gender data collection.
Well, Professor Alice Sullivan claims her freedom of speech was restricted after a talk she gave was disrupted by a trans rights protest.
Protesters actually scaled the walls of the building. We were in a first-floor lecture theatre, and they climbed the walls in order to bang on the windows and sort of howl through the windows. It felt incredibly surreal in there. It was like some kind of zombie apocalypse.
What was it, Alice, that these students objected to? So you have recently led this government review, and all you've said, as far as I can see, very rightly, is that police should be recording and the NHS should be recording people's biological sex rather than their gender identity. And you have very good reason for saying that, which is that cancer referrals have been missed and crimes have been misrecorded because of this idea of gender identity. Is that really what these students objected to, or have you said anything else that they might object to?
No, and it is extraordinary. I have literally argued that we should collect data on sex and we should also collect data on transgender identities as well. It's not a zero-sum game. We need accurate data on all groups in order to serve the needs and the human rights of all groups. It's all I've ever said. And I can only imagine that had these protesters actually come in and listened to my talk, they might have been surprised, because I really don't know what they thought I was saying. Obviously, from the perspective of someone outside the room banging on the window, they have no idea what I'm saying.
It's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, very good. This is why people need to come in and listen.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Well, no, I'm not sure.
Right, it's 28 minutes past 8. We've got an interesting one for you
We
now.
do.
After writing, I mean, you'll know this lady very, very well. Written more than 80 books, sold more than 25 million copies worldwide. One of the UK's first TV doctors, and releasing a new book touching on her own personal experience of ageing.
Yes, Dr. Miriam Stoppard has turned her attention to an often overlooked section of society, the over 60s.
Her new book, Sex, Drugs and Walking Sticks, is out today and is a comprehensive guide to ageing boldly.
Well, we're very pleased to say that joining us now live in the studio is the author and journalist, Dr. Miriam Stoppard herself. Morning to you, Dr. Miriam. So good to see you.
If we can all get to 89 and be like
I
you.
look like you.
Wow.
Well, you should have seen me before I put my makeup on.
You look incredible. So what's it mean to age boldly?
I think what it means is to be aware of what's going on in your body, not to let it kind of rule you, but to take the changes, the compromises that you may have to make as you get older, as your body gets stiffer, for instance, to kind of welcome them, not to use them as an excuse to kind of, you know, disengage. I think to boldly age would mean that you took it on with both hands and with great spirit, and you didn't let it dampen your ardour, so to speak.
Well, is this something that is a societal change, in a sense? Because it's even, you know, I remember from 20, 30 years ago, you got to 60, you were considered old. And the world is changing.
Well, one of the reasons that we really should be paying attention to this age group is because we're all living longer. And therefore we have to think about it and decide how we're going to manage it. And my book is really my journey through aging to old age, because as you said, I'm knocking on 90 now. And, you know, the things that I had to do to transition comfortably and keep going and still feel that I was a participant in life. I wasn't going to be on these scrap heaps the way a lot of other people are thought of. You know, that we kind of dwindle into old age. We don't. You can look after your body. You can pay attention to fitness, mental fitness as well. And my book takes you through all these changes and suggests some of the things you might do.
And we need to be a little bit delicate around it, but obviously with the title of your book, I mean, there's obviously some focus on intimacy.
Well, there is quite a lot in the book about sex because we're sexual beings and we remain sexual beings until we die. And the desire for intimacy and loving and being loved doesn't just stop. Inside, you know, as you get older, we feel very much like we did when we were younger. Our needs are the same. And all I'm saying is that don't think that sex has to stop either, that loving has to stop. It doesn't, especially if you have a loving partner and you can talk it through and you can talk about what you would prefer to do and what you might try. And there is such a menu out there of what you might try. You know, just keep things alive and be aware of your sexuality. It's deep in there. We're all sexual animals, and deep inside is our sexuality. Don't let it hibernate. Bring it out. It's springtime.
I can hear everyone over 60 watching and listening, cheering now and saying, right, that's the way, Miriam. It's really good to talk to you. It's lovely to meet you.
And you too.
And I hope, I hope when I get to very nearly 89, I'm like you. I really do.
No reason why you shouldn't.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
This is it now. Quite right too. Thank you very much indeed.
And the book is out today, if you want to find it. It's online and in good bookshops as well. Dr. Miriam, really good to see you. Thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us.
Oh, right. With that, I feel even more young and sprightly today. If you're travelling to work or school, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M74 northbound, Lane 3 is closed between Junction 2A and Junction 2 after a broken-down vehicle. In Durham, the A19 southbound slip road to the A1086 has one lane shut because of another broken-down vehicle, with traffic improving after 8:30 this morning. On the M56 westbound, expect heavy congestion between Junction 11 and Junction 14, with delays of around 2 hours and conditions easing after 9:15 this morning. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways warn Storm Goretti may impact your journey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be speaking to former Spurs captain Steve Perryman on the passing of Spurs hero Martin Shivers. That's next with Paul Coit.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
It's 8:37. Paul's here with the sport, and it's all a bit grim. Well, it's not all a bit grim, but
sad.
There's a lot of sad stuff.
There is a lot of sadness today,
including. I mean, there's the news that's in a lot of the papers. Gabby Logan disappeared from Match of the Day last night, sort of mid-show, which was an indication something was pretty seriously wrong.
Yeah, well, we've since found out that it was Terry Yorath. Terry Yorath, her dad, played for Leeds, played for Spurs, Wales legend, passed away at the age of 75.
75?
75.
Oh, heck.
And
no age.
It's honestly, it's just a day for this, because Martin Chivers, a very good friend of mine, Spurs legend, he passed away at the age of 80. That was announced yesterday. We've got Kevin Keegan as well, who we've known that's now gone into hospital with cancer. It's a very difficult job for someone to be able to talk about, but, you know, I'm going to go to a legendary captain of Spurs and a real footballing hero, Steve Perryman, who's joined us right now. Morning, Steve. It's always great to see you, but very sad circumstances today, my friend.
Yes. Good morning, Paul. Well, I'm not sure it is a good morning with the recent news about Terry and, of course, Martin yesterday and Kevin Keegan. So, yeah, what a shame. But I suppose we all think life goes on. There's that previous lady talking about being 90 and what you should get up to. So there's hope for us all yet. But
absolutely. We could say how sad we are and how upset we are, because that's obvious. But it'd be nice to talk about Martin and talk about Terry as well, because you played alongside both of them for Tottenham. But Martin Chivers, for those that don't know, was a real superstar, wasn't he? And arguably the best centre forward in the world in the early 70s.
Yeah, I was saying to people yesterday that for a 2-year spell, he was the best centre forward in Europe. And very quickly they said, no, the world. And I thought, well, yeah, do we really know the world? But anyway, he was red hot. He would get clear from the halfway line. He had a big physique. But despite his large body, he could run and he could leave defenders for dead. And when he got through, And 1v1 with a keeper, there's different types of goal scorers in our game, but Jimmy Greaves, etc. But Martin was known for sure going to score. And as a midfield player back in the day, I would always have to try and back up the forward running towards goal, just in case it hit the post, hit the bar, hit the goalkeeper, whatever. And maybe you could then get a chance yourself. But in the end, with Martin, during those 2 years, you almost gave up. You thought, well, he's going to score anyway. Why am I wasting my time? But you still had to do it. But no, he was red hot, and supporters remember such players of great ability, goal scoring ability particularly, and he'll be missed for sure. And regular at Tottenham, talking to supporters, I got so many messages yesterday telling me what a nice man he is and was, and how he spent time with everyone and he signed everything that was put in front of him. And that was typical of Martin, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Honestly, I still can't quite believe it, even just seeing pictures of him there and knowing him as well. I remember
I had two phone calls yesterday telling me about this situation. One was from Pat Jennings and one from Philip Bill, two of our colleagues. And they almost couldn't speak. They were devastated with this news. And it will have such an effect on all of the people that knew him. Great, lovely family, nice, lovely wife, two boys that I've met recently within golf days, and lots of grandchildren, and great loss.
Yeah, we send our love to the family. Quick word about Terry Yorath as well, because this is we've only just heard this because Gabby left Match of the Day last night and nobody knew what it was, and then we've heard the news that Terry Yorath has gone. You played alongside him, didn't you, at Spurs as well?
Yeah, he joined us from Coventry. His main club was Leeds. He was such a competitor. He was a leader in the game. He was captain of Wales. He was a true competitor. I mean, you didn't have an easy game against Terry Yorath. He would battle you and battle you and battle you. And, maybe you'd come out on top of him at times and vice versa. But you always knew you was in a game. And he was one of these players that could add bits to those players around him because of his leadership. And, I rate myself as a good captain, but I can tell you I learned a few things off Terry as well. So another sad loss and regards to his family as well.
And obviously we wish Kevin Keegan well on his recovery as well. We don't know how unwell he is, but obviously you played against Kevin. And honestly, it's just an awful time. Another great player there, Steve, that you would have known very well.
Yeah. Well, I played for the under-23s England team with Kevin and went on tour with him. So I know all about him. Kevin Keegan is one of the players who got the absolute most out of his career.
Yeah.
He pushed the buttons on improvement and running and working harder. And the more famous he got, you know what, the harder he worked. And I think he was someone for young players to look up to, because, you become a good player and people start rating you and they stop doing the things that got them there. Well, Kevin Keegan didn't. And I'm sounding like my mum now, but hopefully this doesn't happen with Kevin. But she would be saying, comes in threes, Steve. Comes in threes. So God bless.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Absolutely.
Steve, it's always a pleasure to see you. Unfortunately, it's just a sad day today, but we send our love to you and we send our love to the families of Terry and Martin as well. And thank you very much for your time. I always appreciate it.
Get me on a better day, please, next time.
We will. We'll get you on a better day. We'll have to get a Spurs win soon, and it may be sometime, so we'll see how we go. Thank you very much, Steve Perriman.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Steve Perriman.
I'll tell you what, it is a sad day, but what beautiful tributes, actually.
Yeah, beautiful tributes.
Two great
Lovely man, Steve.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. All right.
Very
Lovely.
sad.
Paul, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Paul.
Right, we've got the papers in just a moment with Charlotte and AJ. First, though, here's a European forecast.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The cold winds and the snow not just confined to the UK. In and around the Mediterranean, pretty blustery, and some heavy snow likely over the Alps. First really big dumps for some here of the winter. Some showery rain for the Algarve. It's generally fine in the Canaries. Showery rain moving into Italy and across Croatia and further south too for Greece. We'll continue to see the weather pretty mixed in Italy with further showers and some gusty cold winds to come. The weather remains pretty fine in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Patrick Christie's Tonight. Weekdays from 9 p.m.
Look, this is winter. It's flu. Flu comes in winter. Sure as eggs is eggs. There's nothing particularly special about the virus. It has mutated, but that change has made it able to spread through the community by defeating our existing immunity. But the virus itself remains the same in terms of its clinical impact. So while it's a problem at a community and population level, lots of cases, for people who catch this, it's no worse than normal seasonal flu. It's not like we've got a supercharged flu that makes people much iller. We've got a virus that's spreading better and it's come earlier. So we're seeing it rising up the sort of infectious disease rates faster for this time of year. And there are a number of reasons for that, partly because it is a different virus, it's mutated. We haven't seen this particular strain spread for a couple of years. So population immunity levels are quite low. That's why it's
so what you said there, very calm, very rational, quite reassuring, to be honest with you, seems very logical, understandable. Earlier today, the BBC decided to do a report that looks a lot like this. Let's play the clip.
The throwback, isn't it? We were used to wearing these a few years ago. Now this is the precaution being taken. Also, people are being told to make sure their hands are clean and that they're not bringing germs into the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we haven't got time to play it all, but she goes on to, like, you know, use the hand sanitizer. Again, I'm just wondering if it's a little bit fear-mongery.
Well, look, we must take flu seriously because it's a fact that if we tot up the excess mortality in the wintertime, just in the UK, and we attribute a lot of this excess mortality to flu, in an average year, maybe 5,000-6,000 people will lose their lives to flu. And in a bad year, it might be as high as 20,000. So we don't take this lightly. We're not complacent about flu.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Breakfast. We are going through the papers in the company of professional dancer AJ Pritchard and editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Morning, you two.
Morning.
AJ, let's start with something totally different, shall we? Beach huts.
Oh, yes. So the prime Dorset beach huts, I feel like I should say beach huts in quotations. They look like beautiful little homes.
Oh, do they?
They are very nice.
They're really swanky.
I know. This morning I was like, wow, these are proper homes, which kind of ties into the point. The council tax bill is going to double for them. But the reason for this is they want to fund local services. So they need an extra 211,000 for local services.
I'm guessing these pictures we're seeing now of standard, not the.
They're more the standard. Yeah, these are more the standard ones. The ones they look like little, small, even duplex houses. Some of them.
Do they have bedrooms, AJ?
They have bedrooms. There's 344 of these. Huts/houses, and the local authority plans to declare them as second homes. Right. So therefore, they currently have a 50% discount on the council tax. So they're actually just bringing it up to the full amount rather than they're just removing the discount. But as I was saying before, they looked absolutely beautiful. You can, I would stay in there. You can't stay in there for the whole of the year, but you know, a week or two away, it is.
Well, they do.
I understand it.
I can understand on the headline. You sort of see the outrage, but they do sell for about £500,000.
Yeah, there's one for sale for just under 600,000 right now.
Wow.
So as you can see, that's why it is truly a beautiful little house on the beach.
I'd love to know the square footage of one of these compared to a one-bedroom flat in London, which is about £500,000 these days.
Some of these are more expensive per square foot.
Are they the same size? Because for £500,000 in some areas of London, you get a shoebox.
Yeah.
Or a beach hut.
Shed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But then again, the beach, I feel like more people be like, you know what, I'll go for a weekend away, rent it out,
Get the views.
it's beautiful.
Airbnb them.
This is true.
That'll be the next thing, yeah.
Can we cheer ourselves up with Meghan's jam?
Meghan's jam. So, according to some numbers by the Times, Meghan appears to have made £27 million from selling jam. I'm a little bit sceptical about this number.
She's got to pick.
Well, also, she, as you say, she kind of gives the impression that she picks her own strawberries, and we've seen that picture of her taking some jam out of a hot pot, using the tongs upside down, proof that she doesn't really make her own jam. And I think this is even more proof she doesn't make her own jam, because according to this, she would have had to have sold nearly 1 million jars of jam to hit this figure. Now, that's not kind of making it in my home kitchen in Montecito, is it? That's clearly being put through a factory somewhere. And the reason why is there's a kind of glitch on the website, and some kind of Eagle Royal fans put in I want to buy 1 million jars of jam, and they were told, no, you can't buy 1 million, there's only 135,000 left. And if you do the maths, it means she sold about, you're better at maths than me, AJ, but she sold about 862,000
a lot.
Jam. Anyway, so, and I have to say, I'm one of those who have been scoffing all along, saying, God, you know, Meghan's selling jam, what next? You know, this isn't dignified for a extended member of the royal family, ex-member of the royal family. But to be fair to her, if she's made 27 million, then, well, I suppose she's having the last laugh. Yeah,
she is. Very nice.
I need to start making jam ASAP in 2026. That's my new resolution.
You're going to have to. Now, AJ, in the Times this morning, I can't quite believe it, Dylan Thomas is being accused of plagiarism.
I feel like Charlotte's the one that's done more research than me on this one. But yes, fundamentally, Dylan Thomas, author, poet, has, reading through the lines here, from the age of 12, been fundamentally just picking out other people's poems and putting his names on them. I'll let Charlotte speak on it, because I feel like I'm not justified on this side.
I was doing some GCSE revision in the green room, just trying to remind myself. He's obviously a famous Welsh poet, and he's famously influenced by the Bible, Blake, Wordsworth and Shakespeare. And what they're saying now is there's a new book that says that actually he wasn't just influenced by, he was stealing. I mean, maybe not these writers, but just in general, he was stealing at the time. It would tally with his personality, because he was completely off the rails for most of his life. He had this crazy marriage, toxic marriage, loads of affairs, drank too much. So maybe he just took a few shortcuts because he was so hungover all the time and off the rails. I don't know.
Maybe.
Which wrote down as the wholesale theft, just taking as he goes, all the way from school.
Yeah, he wasn't as studious as we thought he was, it turns out.
Wow.
I mean, they've gone rage against Dylan Thomas. What was the line? Was it rage against the...
Dying of the Light.
Dying of the Light.
It was very good, very lyrical. Apparently his poems are meant to be read out loud. They're better out loud. And I remember at school, do you remember at school, just always reading Dylan Thomas out loud in class? It was always kind of a bit, you know, long-winded for a school child, I think.
Yes.
Charlotte, just very briefly, in about 30 seconds, tell us about weight loss jabs.
OK, so weight loss jabs, if you stop taking them, surprise, surprise, you put all the weight back on.
And very quickly, apparently.
Front page of the Mail, and very quickly, and you gain more back once you stop using them. So
it's the same with any diet, though, isn't it? I mean, it's always been the way.
With a diet, you're teaching yourself to eat differently.
Habits is what you're supposed to be creating.
You're not teaching yourself any new tricks. You're not learning how to eat. You're just jabbing.
Yeah. Now it's
Stephen, I know you're an advocate.
Well,
I just think if it works for people, why not?
But it means you're going to have to jab for life.
But the big pharma's got you for life then. You've got to pay £300 a month for the rest of your life.
It's a good kickstart, but then you just need the good habits to keep it going, don't you?
Right.
All right, you two. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Here's your weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the south. southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again, things likely to freeze up, the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now, it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsor.
Thank you to our global community for watching and listening to GB News. We're not only the #1 news channel in Britain, we're chosen by you around the world.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A68 northbound at St Boswells, a road traffic incident is partially blocking the road. In Wales, the A48M westbound is slow from junction 29 Castleton to junction 29A at St Mellons. On the M56 westbound, congestion is heavy between junction 11 and junction 14, with delays of around 2 hours. On the A23 northbound, expect queues between the A27 and the junction with the A2300 due to congestion. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways say Storm Goretti may impact your journey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Britain steps up efforts to target Putin's shadow fleet.
After helping the US seize a Venezuelan tanker with links to Russia and Iran in the North Atlantic, the government steps up anti-Moscow rhetoric.
The US conducted a military operation to intercept the motor vessel Bella 1 in the North Atlantic on its way to Russia. The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Russia's hit back, though, condemning the actions as illegal and accusing Western powers of maritime piracy.
So, as government sources try to distance themselves from tensions between the US and Venezuela, is this an escalation in the conflict?
Kemi Badenoch pledges to abolish business rates for thousands of pubs in an effort to save our pints.
Yes, the Conservative leader is putting pressure on Rachel Reeves by saying that a Conservative government would slash business rates on pubs. But will the Chancellor take the bait? Find out more with me very soon.
The Met Police is under fire after a report found that thousands of officers were not properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive.
Some distressing images here as the breaking news from Minneapolis overnight as US immigration officers fatally shot a 37-year-old woman after she allegedly tried to run over them.
Do you remember the nerves of opening an envelope on GCSE or O-level results day? Well, students now will be able to open their results via an app on their phone.
And more bad weather, I'm afraid. Storm Goretti is moving in, bringing heavy rain, strong wind and snow.
Storm Goretti, the UK's first named storm of the year, is set to hit Britain today. It's going to bring gusts of up to 80 miles an hour and heavy snow across the UK.
Storm Goretti is on the way later today, starting to bring rain already into the far southwest. Later today, very strong winds here and then a risk of snow overnight for parts of England and Wales. First thing, it's across Scotland and Northern Ireland, where we've got the wintry weather and ice warnings in place. Join me later for a full forecast.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. And let's start with our top story this morning. The UK has confirmed it supported a US operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, deploying an RAF aircraft and naval assets.
Well, be transporting
Then just before New Year, the US asked the Britain, Secretary of State for Defence John Healey, to step in and help seize this ship. The UK succeeded in helping to seize this ship, and at the time, the ship had a Russian flag on it. Now, of course, that could prove a bit of a problem. Already, Putin is claiming, well, a source close to Putin is saying that it's piracy, pure and simple, the seizure of this Russian ship, and that it is possible that we could see some some retaliation from Russia. But that doesn't seem to be pushing off John Healey or the US. In fact, it sounds as though John Healey is very keen to get involved in similar, more US operations. Now, diplomatically, this has been almost useful for the UK because it's enabled Keir Starmer to have that conversation with Donald Trump about Venezuela that he's wanted to have for so long. But what's quite strange about this story is that just as the UK and the US are sort of drawing ever closer on this big military operation, working so closely together on the high seas, you've got Trump shooting off at the hip about Greenland and saying that he might purchase Greenland by force. So the UK is having to put up a statement with other European nations, essentially against the US and Donald Trump, while at the same time working in tandem with them in the high seas.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're sort of between a rock and a hard place, aren't they? When you look at Greenland, Venezuela, all tankers. I mean, it seems like they don't know whose tune to jump to now.
Well, exactly, and it does put the UK in an incredibly difficult position. Now, obviously, the ship spent some of its life in Venezuela, but John Healey's been very keen to distance himself and the UK generally from the Venezuelan link, because obviously the UK doesn't want to look as though it has been closely involved in the seizure of the Venezuelan president by Donald Trump. So they sort of want to help the US. They know it's diplomatically important to help the US, and also for the sake of course, global security. It is very, very important that the UK stands by our US allies and fights our enemies. But on the other hand, there are obviously parts of Donald Trump's foreign policy that the UK does not agree with.
OK. Olivia, thank you very much indeed.
Well, let's get the government's perspective on that and various other issues this morning. Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden joins us now. Lovely to see you, Pat. As always, can we start with the oil tanker business? I mean, I know John Healey's saying, you know, it all falls within international law, we're doing the right thing here. But when we tie it in with the bigger picture, how are we dealing with the United States and President Trump? We don't seem to be very clear on what we think about Venezuela. We're certainly against what he seems to be saying about Greenland. Are you stuck between a rock and a hard place?
No, I just think this is the world that we're living in now. It's a more unpredictable world. President Trump, you know, he is who he is, and the task for every country, including us, is to respond to that world. And, you know, at the heart of that is still a really important relationship between the UK and the United States, and it's one that keeps your viewers safe every day. In the defence and intelligence sphere, it's a really important economic relationship too. So I think it is possible to say that, to really value this relationship, but it won't always mean that you agree with every single comment, or that indeed you have to respond to every single comment. You know, this is the world we've been in for the past year. I think we have to get used to it. I think we have to understand why it's changed, and critically, I think we have to understand that in this world, you have to be able to exercise both hard power and soft power. And that's why it's right that the UK has stepped up by increasing our own defence expenditure and trying to play a leading role in organising European countries in support of the defence of Ukraine. This is the big picture of what's been happening over the past year.
From the president must sting, though, when they say the United States will always be there for NATO, even if they won't be there for us. But what happened yesterday was the US requested British support, and British assistance is exactly what they got. Do you still think that we have this special relationship? Is the US a reliable ally for us?
Yeah, I think they are a reliable ally. It's a very good relationship. I've seen it in my time in government, how important it is. You mentioned the example yesterday. This operation was carried out in part by United States assets which had been temporarily located in the UK. It's done with UK support. UK military assets also playing their part. So yes, the United States is a reliable ally. It's an important ally. And that relationship between the UK and the US is really, really important and valuable, and in the UK's national interest, I might add. And that's something that it's really important to underline.
Can we talk about the two-child benefit cap? Because Keir Starmer today, we're told, will accuse the Conservatives and Reform of plunging thousands of children into poverty, and that's because you're unveiling the legislation to scrap the two-child benefit cap. I mean, you're having a go at the Tories and Reform for a policy you held up until a few short months ago, and indeed, when some of your own MPs said they wanted to scrap the two-child benefit cap, you suspended 7 of them.
Well, people were suspended for not taking the government whip on the King's speech, which is the most critical thing for a government, is its legislative programme, not for having an opinion about one particular policy. This is really important legislation today. It will lift 450,000 children out of poverty over the next few years, and it's not just a matter of cash distribution. This is an investment in children's future, because children who grow up in poverty are less likely to do well at school. They're more likely to develop mental health problems, which I can tell you as the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions is an increasing human and financial cost to the nation. So by doing this, we are trying to change these children's lives as well as engaging in a cash distribution. So it's a really important piece of legislation. And the challenge will be for our opponents at the next election. Are they going to fight the next election, pledge to reverse this and put more children back into poverty or not? The ball is now in their court. They're going to have to make that choice.
Look, nobody wants to see children living in poverty, of course they don't. But lifting the two-child benefit cap does not incentivise parents to go out to work. And surely the way to sustainably lift children and families out of poverty is to have a good, stable income, to have good employment. And the unemployment rate under your government has soared to 5.1%. It hasn't been that high since the pandemic, since 2020. These parents need good jobs and good, stable incomes for their children.
Well, 60% of the children who are affected by this child poverty are in families where someone works. And we're trying to make work pay by increasing the minimum wage, by extending help for childcare for working parents. And another important part of this, in terms of this distinction that's sometimes drawn, and I think maybe you were trying to draw between working and non-working parents, is that half the children who will benefit from this are in households where the parents weren't on universal credit when they had the children, and that's because lives can change. Someone can lose their job, a marriage can break up, a spouse can die, all sorts of circumstances can change. So it's not a static group of people who are just on benefits forever. This is a group of people where people are moving in and out of work all the time. And the importance of the policy is that we are saying that when your income has fallen, and remember, universal credit is both an in-work and an out-of-work benefit, that the state will be there to help you to make sure your children don't fall into poverty and make sure that they can have a better life, better educational prospects, better health prospects. That's an investment worth making for the country. And we're only able to make it because we stabilise the public finances, because we're cracking down on fraud and error in the benefit system. We made changes to the Motability scheme, and we also made changes to online gambling taxation. So putting that all together is the way that we were able to afford to have this policy.
OK. Pat McFadden, always appreciate your time. Thanks very much indeed.
Now, 13 minutes past 9, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway. It's truly great. £85,000 in tax-free cash to be won. Hayley Sparks has got all the details for you.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000.
And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all.
With an extra £85,000 in your bank, you'll be able to indulge in luxury, do those things you've only ever dreamed about.
Even tick a few experiences off the bucket list.
One lucky viewer is guaranteed to win £85,000 in tax-free cash.
But you've got to be in it to win it.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come, the Met Police under fire after a report found thousands of officers weren't properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive. We've got more on that coming up.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
It's 9:18 and thousands of officers in Britain's biggest police force weren't vetted properly during a major recruitment drive, according to a new report.
Well, it says senior Met officers ignored national guidelines to fast-track more than 4,500 recruits, allowing unsuitable staff to remain. And, of course, that led to undermining public trust.
Mike Neville is a retired Scotland Yard detective, and he joins us now. It's a shocker, Mike, to be perfectly honest.
It absolutely is. I mean, I always say this. I was proud to be a Scotland Yard detective. Scotland Yard was seen as the crime-fighting agency, one of the best in the world, and we still have thousands of very good, decent, honest officers out there really helping the public. But this report is a shocker. I mean, particularly when you look at things like Cliff Mitchell, who was a police constable. He was a black guy. He had been accused of child rape, and so when they did the actual initial vetting, they said he couldn't join. But because the then commissioner, Cressida Dick, had set a 40%, an unrealistic recruiting target, if there should be any at all, for ethnic minority staff, they had these special panels where they sort of reviewed these things and then said, "Oh, Mitchell can join." So you had a man who'd been suspected of child rape. This man was last year, he was convicted of 10 rapes, including the rape of a child. And then, of course, you've got David Carrick, who was a white guy, wasn't properly vetted, and instead is a serial rapist, now in prison for life, allowed to go on the firearms unit. So it really is a scandal. But I think these ridiculous targets that are set for diversity, the public aren't interested in a diverse police force. They want an effective police force which keeps them safe.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike Neville. Sorry it's been so brief with you this morning, but we really appreciate your time.
Let's just say that Assistant Commissioner Rachel Williams said that in publishing this report, we're being open and transparent about past vetting and recruitment practices that led in some cases to unsuitable people joining the Met. We found some practices did not meet the hiring and vetting standards we have today. We've identified these issues ourselves and have fixed them quickly.
Now, everyone remembers their nerves on GCSE exam results day. Well, for the first time this summer, all Year 11 students will be able to view their results on an app on their phone.
Yeah, should we talk to the chair of the Campaign for Real Education, former head teacher, Chris McGovern? Chris, morning to you. What do you make of this? I'm a bit sceptical.
And I think it's a great idea.
Well, of course, there are pros and cons, aren't there? What we do know is that schools are going to be open from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock so that children can go into the store to get the results. But from 11 o'clock, they can access their results on this app. Now, most children, kids, 16-year-olds, aren't going to be getting up at 8 o'clock. So I suspect that quite a few children will actually get this app with us, perhaps just with their parent. It could be a bit difficult for them. But look, we're a campaign group which thinks that mobile phones really aren't a great thing in schools. We don't want to increase dependence on this digital technology. Many countries around the world do not let school kids have the digital technology. So maybe it's a good idea, but maybe later, having a central database for your results, maybe at 18 plus, but 16 is a bit young, I think.
It is a sign of the times, isn't it? As you say, children do have phones. They're on their phones all of the time. It would make sense, wouldn't it, to get the results via an app, to be able to process that by themselves, with their family, with their close circle. And then if they need that further support, they can come into schools and receive that from specialist staff.
Yeah, but what's interesting, you know, is that if you go to California, it wouldn't be allowed there because the computer bosses in California increasingly send their own kids to what are called Waldorf schools, which ban the technology. So it's very, odd, really, that the people who are producing this great new software actually don't let their own kids use it. So look, we're not Luddites. We're not, our campaign group's not against using the technology. We just think maybe at 18 would be better than 16. And I think probably schools can hold the information for the children if they need to use it for applying for colleges and so forth. So it's a double-edged thing. We're trying to stop kids using the technology so much. And yes, they do use it all the time. And that's why many countries around the world are stopping schools from having the smartphones in the classroom. So it's a double-edged. It's probably a bit early to do it at 16.
OK. Chris, really good to see you this morning. Short but sweet. Thanks very much indeed.
Now, Britain's Newsroom is coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Anna Aquia are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
Well, very busy show. Katie Amos, she's the daughter of Sir David Amos, who was sadly killed in October in 2021. She'll be talking to us because she wants a proper inquiry rather than just reviews, which is what keeps happening. And so she was with Shabana Mahmood yesterday, and so she'll be giving us an update as to where she is with that.
Yeah, I'm talking about pubs.
Yeah.
It's becoming a big issue. I'm absolutely convinced there's going to be another U-turn pretty soon. On business rates or something, because so many pubs are threatened with closure now. Yeah. And the Prime Minister gets it. It doesn't seem the chance it does yet, but it's the end of her, isn't it, if they do a U-turn on that as well, having done a U-turn on farming.
Another major U-turn.
Yeah, winter fuel, what next? And, of course, let's go to the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. But Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Later today, Storm Goretti will arrive, bringing strong winds, particularly in the southwest of England, but also some heavy snow for parts of England and Wales. It's across Scotland and Northern Ireland where we've got the risk of snow and ice first thing. Ice warnings in place until late morning. Down to the southwest by late morning, rain will have arrived. Many places actually just dry and bright today, but with increasing cloud across the south and those winds picking up in the southwest as well. Still pretty cold out there, temperatures in single figures, but maybe turning a bit milder into the far southwest, but not just turning milder, turning wet and very windy here too. And it's as the wet weather arrives, hits the colder air, we're likely to see some snowfall, particularly this evening over South Wales, but becoming more extensive overnight. And then the winds really pick up in the far southwest of England, an amber warning in place, gusts of 70, maybe 80 miles an hour, likely to cause some disruption. Things a bit calmer further north, but still cold, so again things likely to freeze up, the potential for ice, but the snow at least easing over northern Scotland, which has been particularly badly hit so far this year. Now it's further south where we've got the greatest snow risk this evening over Wales and the Midlands, and perhaps later in the night into parts of eastern England as well. Amber warning in place over central areas for many centimetres of snow, likely again to cause some disruption. And it's going to be another pretty cold night, but with the cloud and the wind, temperatures hovering around freezing in the morning, which means we could still see some snow over parts of central and eastern England during tomorrow morning. A grim day across these eastern areas, wet and cold. Further west, it's a little bit drier and a little bit brighter, but again, it's still on the chilly side wherever you are. There are a number of Met Office warnings in place, including amber warnings for snow and for wind. Please check out the Met Office website for full details to see how you could be affected.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 10 million followers across social media. We are truly honoured to have your trust, one follower at a time.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the A68 northbound at St Boswells, there's a road traffic incident partially blocking the carriageway. In Holton, the M56 westbound between Junction 10 and Junction 14 is heavily congested, with delays of around 2 hours. Also, on the M6 southbound at the Junction 14 entry slip in Staffordshire, an overturned vehicle has closed all lanes, and disruption is expected to last into the afternoon. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast and Chiltern Railways say Storm Goretti may impact your journey. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, you're absolutely right. Spot on. I couldn't help feeling that perhaps it was actually just a joke, and they were going to come back in 2 years' time and say, we took you all in. It was, in fact, a joke. Now we're going to produce something more serious, because it was absolutely hilarious and ridiculous. Commercial suicide, I described it as.
Well, the individual behind it is no more. What would you like to see from the brand? Presumably not people with asymmetric haircuts in pink dresses with sledgehammers doing precisely zero to do with cars.
Well, again, absolutely, you're spot on. I mean, it's just totally unrelated to cars at all. There wasn't even a car in the advert. Jaguar was built on style, and that brought passion for cars. That's what made them different. I remember many years ago, a Jaguar executive in the States saying to me, people say, I like my Mercedes, but I love my Jaguar. It's all about passion. Style engendered that. That's what we've got to have. We need to see a proper, more traditional, stylish, real Jaguar that can build on the brand and heritage of the past.
OK, Philip Porter, I'm going to put you on the spot now. If you're in charge of the next Jaguar advert, what would it look like?
As diametrically opposite and different as it possibly could be from what they produced. I suppose, I mean, I live a little in the past, I admit, although I also think I'm hopefully realistic about the current situation and everything, the present. But I'd like to see the heritage shown. Jaguar were not afraid to talk in the past about their heritage. The Le Mans wins back in the 50s, the E-Type in the 60s. This is what added excitement and luster to the brand.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good morning. It is 9:30 on Thursday, the 8th of January, live across the UK. Britain's Newsroom with Andrew Pearce and Nana Requia.
Yes, good morning to you. Now, the pubs threaten to go on strike.
If Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer don't sit up and listen, this is only going to get bigger. We are pushing into industrial action. There's protest plans for the end of the month.
That's publican Andy Lennox telling this very show that pubs have been pushed to the brink. And this morning, Tory leader Kemi Badenoch lays out her blueprint to save the British boozer.
Police trust in tatters. Thousands of Met officers, including 2 serial rapists, were not properly vetted during a nationwide recruitment drive. Meanwhile, the West Midlands police chief gets defensive over banning Jewish Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Birmingham.
I think this is the first time specifically that you've asked for that detail. That's what we tried. That's what we tried to get across.
Absolutely.
That's
The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity.
Well, that was Defence Secretary John Healey after British forces helped America seize a sanctioned oil tanker heading to a Russian port. Vladimir Putin, what a cheek, has called the actions illegal and accuses Western powers of maritime piracy. Know all about that.
Yes, now, you're about to see some distressing images, but breaking news out of Minneapolis overnight, where US immigration officers fatally shot a 37-year-old woman after she allegedly tried to run them over.
And we're gearing up for Storm Goretti. Britain is braced for the latest storm where 12 inches of snow and 90 mile-an-hour gusts of winds are expected to batter Britain, which is January.
What do you say to your victims, Hugh Edwards?
Martin Clunes will portray the disgraced BBC News presenter and disgraceful sex offender Hugh Edwards in a new Channel 5 drama. Is this way too soon? I don't know about you, but I just find it a little bit distasteful that already, or in actual fact,